Bruce, be reasonable. You know what my orders are.
Your orders? You say you answer to some sort of authority. They only want me dead because I'm an embarrassment, because I do what they can't. What kind of authority is that?
It doesn't matter. It's their world, and they won't stand for you anymore. If it isn't me, it'll just be someone else.
Really? Who do they send after you? Ten years has passed since Bruce Wayne hung up his cape and Gotham has once again plummeted into crime and corruption. No longer able to ignore his city's pleas, Bruce once again becomes Batman and begins his one-man war on crime, but with help from a spunky new Robin and his elderly butler Alfred. However, it isn't long before many of his old foes and friends come to challenge him for one final showdown. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 2012's The Dark Knight Returns, directed by Jay Oliva. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. We are going to be covering, as you heard from the intro, the seminal, the legendary, the classic, The Dark Knight Returns, the animated feature from 2012. But the Robin to my Batman, the War Machine to my Iron Man is always Zoheb Ali. Zoheb, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Okay, hold on. This is the first a couple of things we got to fix up here. The Robin to your Batman.
I'm older than
Come
you.
on. Yeah, but I mean, whatever. All right, seniority. I mean, look, in the office when they went and then they chose a manager by seniority, they chose goddamn Creed to choose to be a manager. So that doesn't mean anything. And by the way, the War Machine to your Iron Man, you fucking racist.
I think we've said that before, but I mean, it's always accurate though.
Yeah. I'm good, dude. How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. I'm really excited to be covering this. We do have a lot of ground to cover. This is a huge, legendary comic book, like I said before, turned into a great animated feature. Oh, there you go. You dancing with it over there, Dark Knight Returns. So yeah, I think it's fair to say that we both actually have read the comic on this one. For once, both of us has read like the source material.
I've read halfway.
Okay, well, either way, close enough. We have never actually both of us 100% read the source material for any film adaptation like we've
but
ever
we
done.
are working on one. We are working on one.
I was just thinking about that. We are working on one. Tease that, slip the tip in a little bit. But guys, let's do this first. Let's get this out of the way. If you want to find us on our socials, you can find us on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. You can find us on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. There's a group attached to the Facebook page. It's called the After Party. Everybody's invited. That's been growing a lot lately. Everybody's been having a lot of fun. It's become kind of this haven for like the Mummy memes. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. It's really great. A lot of people have from across the world have kept those memes going, and it is fucking awesome. I love it. You can also find us on Twitter at MDF Pod. You find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on everywhere where you're currently probably listening to this. And if there's a platform that doesn't have us, write your congressman because we want to be on it. Without really much more. Oh, also midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. You want to shoot us an email, whatever. So let's jump into this shit. I love this movie. This was my pick. Not a lot of meat on that bone for me. I mean, I can kind of get into my opening thoughts, but this was obviously my pick. Obviously something that I enjoy. I don't think we've ever picked a movie that we don't like. So let's start with you because, like you said, you've been reading the source material lately. I think that now's a really good time with the news of possibly Michael Keaton coming back with the Flashpoint thing. Who fucking knows? That could all be up in the air. But I thought it was a good time to talk about Batman. So what did you think about this? This direction, this different Batman that we have here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, there's never a bad time to talk about Batman. I mean, especially on our podcast. We love Batman here. I mean, it's no secret, right? Across all four co-hosts. I think it's just a thing,
Yeah.
How can you not love this character? This is just the most rich, most interesting, and I want to use the word superhero, but he's not really a superhero because he's grounded, he's very realistic, he's got very realistic human problems, and you know, over the years, he's had different adaptations, and it's just every director, every writer has brought something new to the character and something
Mhm.
so interesting and fresh. Fuck, what was your question? What was your question?
What did you
Oh, god
think?
damn it. Oh yeah. All right. Look, so The Dark Knight Returns, I bought this comic a while back in like a 3-pack with The Court of Owls and Hush.
Nice.
And it's been sitting on my shelf for fucking years. I never, I started them and like, I don't know, I'm really, really bad with books. So, fucking years. And then, you're like, all right, let's cover the Batman Returns. And I was like, oh, sorry, the Dark Knight Returns. I was like, oh, okay, cool, awesome. So I dug out the comic book again and, I started reading it. I got about halfway through. It's awesome, dude. I love this story.
Nice.
It's fucking
Nice.
badass. The only kind of like knock that I have on the actual comic book itself, Frank Miller's comic book, is the art style. We were talking
Mhm.
about this earlier.
Right.
The art style, and I know it's written in 1986 and it's illustrated in 1986, so you kind of need to take that going into it. But the art style is very jagged, like it's very like slapshot. It's very off the cuff, and like sometimes I'm sitting there, I'm trying to comprehend what exactly is happening in the panel.
Yeah.
And when that starts happening, it just makes for a bit of a weird experience and a very slow and painstaking experience as you're like reading this comic. But the movie, this is the first time I've seen the movie for this podcast, for the podcast, and like forever, any time. This is the first
Yeah.
time I've been introduced to it. Obviously, I'd heard of The Dark Knight Returns, but the movie kicked my ass, dude. It was fucking awesome.
That's awesome,
um,
dude.
we've talked animation here in Minute Double Feature a few times. Like we covered Coco, we covered Into the Spider Verse. So that is already kind of like a high bar to like hit for the podcast. Like one of
Yeah.
the 3 animation films we've covered, and I'm so glad to add The Dark Knight Returns to there because this is just so on par with those movies. Firstly, man, like I wanted like the cast. Right, the fucking cut, Peter Weller. I know you want to
Yeah.
get into Peter
Hell
Weller.
yeah,
All right, I
I do.
know you do. No, it's awesome, dude. And like the way the story moves is fantastic. It's really engaging. And like it's interesting watching this after Batman vs Superman and The Dark Knight Rises and
Mhm.
Joker as well, because you can 100% see the inspiration those 3 movies took from this comic book. Nolan, Snyder, and Todd Phillips like must have just been like, all right, well, we need to go back to the seminal comic book and try and get some inspiration from it. And you can totally see that in this. But I'll get to like kind of like my little issues with it. I think with animation, I think you can pull off a lot more in animation than you can in film, obviously, because you don't have a budget where you're blowing up real life shit.
Right.
But I think it's very dense. Like there is a lot in here, and I know it's like separated into part 1, part 2. But as we're approaching it as both parts. Like I fucking bought the deluxe edition for like $5.
Yeah. Yeah, same here.
Nice, but it's very dense, and like I feel like you need a little bit of information going into it. Like I feel like like they give you some exposition, but Robin being killed by the Joker, I feel like, do you need to know that? Like, was that explained in the previous comic book before this? Like, I don't really, or like, I can't remember if there's a line of dialogue where they say in this movie that the Joker killed Robin.
Yeah, it is actually a death in the family. A death in the family is the name of it. It was a huge. Actually, what happened was they let people vote on whether Joker would kill Robin or not, and they voted yes. And he beat Robin to death with like a crowbar and let him like set off an explosion in a warehouse, But nobody stays dead. Of course, Jason Todd is Red Hood now and all that other shit. But yeah, that was a big moment in the comics of Joker actually murdering a member of like the Bat Mafia.
That's badass, man. Like, I mean, like, I love that, Batman uses that to drive himself, like,
Mhm.
towards, like, and, like, he's like, I can't, I made a promise, and, like, never again. Like, I love that whole internal conflict, that inner turmoil. And not to mention, man, like, seeing, like, an older, grizzled Batman who's, like, struggling physically to, like, fight these bad guys, like,
Yeah.
it's very different. And I know that's what Zack Snyder was kind of going for in the Dark Knight, in Batman vs Superman and Justice League, but I feel like Ben Affleck should have been aged up a little more, like, to kind of really pull that off. But yeah, man, I really love this movie. I'm really keen to get into it. Yeah, give me your thoughts. Like, give me your word vomit, because I know you love this shit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I have like I'm not gonna lie, the DC animated movies have been on my radar since like '07 when they made Superman Doomsday. And that was like the one where he fights Doomsday, he gets killed, and it was like a brutal like fight that we all watched. I think that was 2007. I'm probably wrong, but early 2000s, mid 2000s. That's when they first Superman Doomsday was the first one I really knew about, and it was incredible. And it was PG-13. It was kind of dark. It was kind of violent, and I was like, "This is awesome." So I've always actually had a lot of respect for these movies that have come out. I actually just bought Justice League Apocalypse, and that was a mistake because I should have watched the first like 14 that they made. But I've seen this. I've seen like Flashpoint Paradox. I've seen Batman versus Robin. But there's also like, oh my God, Justice League Doom and Justice League War and Superman versus Batman Public Enemies. And
the only animated film that I watched before this, DC animated movie that I watched before this, was The Killing Joke. I watched that at the movies with Matt, because I goddamn love The Killing Joke. That's like the only comic book that I've read start to finish. I mean, it's only like 25 pages, but and that movie is a bit of a mixed bag. Like, like it starts really strangely, and then it hits like into the Killing Joke itself. But yeah, like I would love, like, especially after this, I'd love to dive in more into the animated universe for sure.
Dude, me too. And I also Batman Under the Red Hood is also a really, really good one that actually deals with Jason Todd being the Red Hood and stuff. But this, I saw it and it looked cool. I was like, this is neat. I read the synopsis, 55-year-old Batman. I'm down. Let's do it. And I had no idea of like the depths that this fucking story was going to go to. The politics of it, the symbolism of like man versus society, and like there's so much meat on the bone with this, like mythological Promethean, like man stealing fire from the gods type shit. And I was like, and I love that. I love the whole thing of like Batman being almost like a Prometheus and fighting this god and not really taking anything back. Like there's no fire there really. I guess you could say the fight of basically, it makes me think actually more of Batman almost more as like Ivan Vanko from Iron Man 2,
Whiplash,
where he's like,
yeah.
right, where he's just, what, if you make God bleed, no one will believe in him. And even though his motives are a lot more selfish and shit, Batman is obviously not that. But I had a strong feeling of like Iron Man 2 when I was watching this. This is like Iron Man 2 from like if Whiplash was a good guy, it's kind of crazy. But I was just blown away by this story, bringing back, Joker, bringing back Two-Face, having a final showdown between Superman and Batman. Who's alive, who's not? Like, who are these people? Seeing everybody aged. Catwoman, and how the fuck is Alfred still alive? I have no idea. I was like, that's if he's been taking care of Bruce since he must have been like 14 when he started taking care of Bruce. Right. Because that's insane.
Goddamn, fucking Martha and what's his dad's name? God damn it! They're just what's Bruce's father's name again?
Oh, Thomas.
Yes, Martha and Thomas are just like hiring like child slave labor here.
Yeah, dude. The actually funny part about Thomas Wayne, his one or two lines in this, it's Bruce Timm, who was like basically kicked off the animated series, and he does the voice. Like, it's so fucking cool. But I don't even really know where to begin, because I think I'm trying to like unhinge my jaw to suck the whole cock of this thing, and it's so hard for me to do. This is just an amazing story, and it shows why Batman is amazing, and it shows why he is everlasting and endearing. I think this is one of the greatest pieces of fiction that has ever been made. I think it's absolutely incredible, and I think, to me, this is like, a lot of people are like, Watchmen. I'm like, dude, Dark Knight Returns is still like, Watchmen is amazing, don't get me wrong, but then that has so much more like with politics and with the current state of the government and stuff like that. But this was an amazing 1-2 punch and like shot in the arm that comic books needed in the 80s. But I seriously, I think that between the fight, the argument, who would win, Batman versus Superman, and this I don't want to say this is like the definitive, like, because Frank Miller's pretty biased. He loves Batman and kind of hates Superman. But this fiction is just amazing, of taking a character that we've known. Frank Miller, this is like a direct quote from Frank Miller. He's like, I wanted to take Batman, who is already like a cultural icon, and make him like legendary. I wanted to make him like mythological. And I'm like, and that's exactly what he did. He made him seem so much larger than life. And even in like winning, there's still a possibility of defeat and like vice versa. And it's so fucking cool. Seeing the consequences of years of battle, of like the fact that this isn't like Robert Pattinson in his prime at a GTO kicking ass. It's like, no, people have died. This has been a war for decades, and like so much blood and like time has been lost to this. And to see all this finally, I kind of wish they had just like let Bruce Wayne die at the end. Like I don't really need to
Yeah,
see him
I'm
like,
not a fan of that end. I don't
yeah,
like the ending at all.
it's so I would have been totally fine with Bruce, like maybe Green Arrow was the one who takes over the Sons of Batman, and Bruce is just, you know, whatever. That's like his final act. That's kind of where I stand on the ending. But seeing the whole life of Bruce Wayne and all this finally come to a head, where it was, you know, it's like fighting all of the enemies you ever fought, and the biggest and final enemy was one of your best like members of the Justice League. That's so like the irony in there is so awesome. But all in all, I love the animation. Like you said about the comic book, it's very blocky, it's very gritty. I think Frank Miller, and this is Bruce Timm said this in a documentary about Dark Knight Returns. He's like, even if Frank Miller hadn't gotten into comic books, he would be a novelist. And I was like, yeah, I think he should.
I can say that.
Some of his artwork can look amazing, but some of it can also be like, Jesus, dude, like I can't. It looks like the page is bleeding, like there's just ink like everywhere. But either way, I mean, it's still the iconic imagery of him flying through the lightning and stuff. I mean, that's so amazing. And this is why, like, I still like Batman versus Superman to a degree, but this was the standard of like high hopes I had when that movie came out, and I was just not. When they start fighting in Batman versus Superman, I was like gripping my girlfriend's thigh. I was just like, oh my God, this is what I wanted. And the whole rest of that movie was just kind of like, man, you know, there's so much good source material. Why didn't you just make Dark Knight Returns? That's what I don't understand. But either way, obviously, I love this thing. I think this movie is amazing. I think the whole story is incredible. But I want to jump into this right here because before we started recording, I was like, Zoheb, let's say we make a live action cast, and it can be people alive or dead, but they can't have played these characters at some point. Can't be, you know, Pattinson, can't be Bale, can't be Batfleck. They can't have played these characters before. Do you want to go first? You want me to go first? Up to you.
You know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna take it.
Go for it. Go for it.
All right. So I did this. Yeah, we had those parameters, but I also kind of limited myself because I wanted to see who could play. If the movie was to be greenlit tomorrow, I want to see who could play who. You know, like I didn't really dive into the, you know, past actors who have passed away and stuff like that. I like these are the actors that I would want to see take these characters on head on, and there are going to be some surprises in here. So
I can't fucking wait, dude.
My director, because I wanted to start off with the director. My director would be Chad Stahelski. He did the 3 John Wick films. He did Atomic Blonde.
Okay.
I just think there's a lot of hand-to-hand combat in this, which I think can be pulled off really, really well in a live action setting. Like, he's a stuntman. Plus, he's really good at world building. The John Wick films do world building so goddamn well. And I just think that, you know, like when Chad Stahelski moves away from the John Wick franchise, I think he can have like an awesome crack at like a comic book movie. So for sure. I got Selena Kyle, Jean Smart, who was just in Watchmen. She played
yeah.
Silk Spectre.
Yeah. She's great.
Yeah. Oliver Queen, Jonathan Groff, who was in Mindhunter. He was the lead on Mindhunter. He was really good.
Okay.
Yeah. Superman, John Hamm.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. His name's been tossed around for both those guys a lot.
Right,
Superman and Batman.
I see more Superman in him than Batman. Like, I can see him being like the very goody two shoes, like Clark Kent. Like, you know, let's stop this. The mutant leader. Like, I didn't initially have the mutant leader, but I was like, you know, I just thought of someone. Thor Bjornsson, who is from Game of Thrones. He's the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, like, he is like the strongest man in the world, and I can like see it. Like, you know, I can just see it play out. Alfred is Mark Rylance, who was from Bridge of Spies and Dunkirk. He won an Oscar for Bridge of Spies. He was in Ready Player One as well. He played Halliday, rather. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen him, right? You're giving me the confused face.
Yeah, I am.
Joker is interesting because I had to age him up, but I still wanted someone really, really impactful. Christoph Waltz. I feel like Christoph Waltz can pull off
Nice.
a
Yeah, he could.
solid Joker, dude.
Very cool.
Harvey Dent, because he's very good at playing the good guy and the bad guy and making us feel very sympathetic for him. Bryan Cranston. I went
Cool.
for Harvey Dent. Gordon was probably one of my favorite picks, other than Bruce Wayne. Gordon is Don Johnson. I love Don Johnson, man. Like
Nice. Yeah.
especially in his later years, like when he's playing, in Watchmen, he played the what is it, the commissioner in chief, whatever.
Yeah. No, that's not what I
yeah.
said.
Right. Yeah. Oh God, and Django. That little Peckerwood kid.
Yeah. He's amazing in that, man.
Robin is someone you might not know, but it's an actress named Storm Reed. She's like this young sort of like African American girl, but she was in The Invisible Man. She was in A Wrinkle in Time. I think she's got the chops to really pull it off, especially from The Invisible Man. So I don't know, and she's definitely like the right age for it and stuff like that. Now, my Bruce Wayne / Batman is gonna be controversial as fuck, but I want you to look up a photo of him now, and
Okay.
the actor is Pierce Brosnan from.
Oh yeah, dude, I considered
Bond
him.
and
You're
shit.
not that far off the mark. I
Really?
really did
Okay.
actually consider him. I
Okay.
was thinking Pierce Brosnan in The World's End. You know, he's like the
Okay.
professor, and I was like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you're not that far off. You're really
Dude,
not.
if you look up a photo of him right now on Google Images, just type in Pierce Brosnan now. He's
Yeah.
got the silver fox, like, and like he's still got the charm and swagger of Bruce Wayne. But I think, if he, I mean, like, I'm not gonna make this 76-year-old actor like work out and shit, but like,
Right.
if he bulked up, he could like fill out a suit, man. Like we know he can do like physical action. So like from the Bond films. So like, yeah, man, like that's my pick. I think, I don't know. I kind of like sat there like changing things out, like swapping things out, but the only solid ones that I had from the beginning were Gordon as Don Johnson's Gordon. I had Christoph Waltz from Joker, that never changed. Mutant Leader never changed, and Oliver Queen, because I just saw Jonathan Groff in Hamilton. He was in the Disney Plus Hamilton.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, like that's mine. Go hit me with yours. I want to hear this.
Okay, so I didn't cast as many as you did. Mutant Leader, I was like, meh, whatever. Like Dave Bautista,
Right.
cool. Like I didn't really like go that in depth to it. First person I thought of as actually being Commissioner Gordon was Bryan Cranston. That was the first one I thought. I was like, cool. That's not really a racy pick though. I've heard a lot of people.
I'd even keep J.K. Simmons, dude. Like J.K.
Yeah,
Simmons, I think
same
was
here.
shortchanged.
Absolutely. I did think so. I couldn't do it. I couldn't pick just one. I have a couple of some of them have two.
Son of a bitch! You always cheat. You
some of them
always
have
fucking cheat.
Some of them have twosies and threesies. So, right off the rip, the one that I was like, this is it. It can't be anybody else. Carrie Kelly, Sophia Lillis from It. It had to be her, Beverly Marsh. She's got, she has red short hair. It's like, no, she has that kind of like spunky like attitude that I've seen her in other stuff. And she definitely came across as like,
absolutely. That's a good pull.
I think she would be great. So I didn't even really think about Alfred, and I was like, well, Alfred could be. And the first thing I thought was like, oh, like Jeremy Irons. It's like, oh fuck, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. But I don't really have like a cast idea for Alfred as Ellen Yindel, the commissioner that takes over, and like an age appropriate Brigitte Nielsen from Rocky IV. I was like, that's the first person that I thought of, or she could be Bruno, the Nazi tit lady. That one would definitely work as well. And then I'm trying to think, Joker. I kind of had like two. This is a twosie or threesie. If you're going age appropriate, Willem Dafoe. I think Willem Dafoe, if you're going age appropriate. If you're going like modern day and aging up, Sam Rockwell or Jake Gyllenhaal. Those are the two that I picked.
Dude, Jake Gyllenhaal will kill it, especially like a
He
Nightcrawler
would.
Jake Gyllenhaal, dude.
Right, absolutely. And I actually even thought about it, and I was like, well, who would be Harvey Dent? And I was like, actually, that would be a really good Sam Rockwell one. So I think I might have to go. That's why I'm like, some of these can like blur in and out and be different things. Two-Face, that was the one I was thinking about for mainly Sam Rockwell, because I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal would be such a wasted talent on Two-Face because he's so small of a part of the movie. So it's like, dude, he needs to be Joker. Or, you know, people even throwing around Christian Bale. Christian Bale could have really done a good Joker. I mean, he's incredible. Fuck, he's Dick Cheney, and Dick Cheney's so much scarier than the Joker.
He's my favorite actor of all time, by the way.
He's amazing, man. And then when I started thinking about, I mean, I'm trying to think who all I might be missing here. I've got Yendel, I've got Gordon, I've got Dent, I've got Joker, I've got
the Queen.
Oliver Queen, I didn't really think about till you said it, and then I shit my pants. But if I had to pick somebody like with a gun to my head right now, again, it's like, do you go age appropriate, or do you just pick someone who's around? And I was like, well, Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy. I was like, that's my first. Yeah. Dude, nails apart. I also actually thought about Opie from Sons of Anarchy, Ryan Hurst. He's on Walking Dead now. Yeah, he would be really good. That gruff kind of Jason Momoa biker vibe, I think, is what like I'm thinking of for Oliver Queen. But okay, so this is, I think, not a big shock to what people think of when they think of gruffled, like that fucking Batman who's like bent over on the cover and like, you know, crazy looking and stuff. Exactly. So my first thought was, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I had initially as well. Absolutely.
Right. And I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but then I thought, who would look like Jeffrey Dean Morgan but be a better actor? And I was like, Javier Bardem.
Oh, I like
it. Dude,
I
think he would be amazing. And that guy is a fucking chameleon. I think he would do such a good job. Either one of them should be Bruce and one of them should be Thomas, like flip-flop it. I don't really, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan was like, man, he was the one pegged for this. He was the one pegged for Batman versus Superman. And Zack Snyder leaned
Thomas.
Yeah, like Zack Snyder leaned over to him at a Watchmen panel. He's like, I want you to be Batman. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan's like, holy shit, that's a big step, you know? And he was like, dude, I had to wear a bodysuit for Watchmen. I can't get in that kind of shape. And he's like, no, you're old. Like, read this comic book and stuff. And it never really took off. But, you know, hey, fingers crossed. I honestly, I think that Jeffrey Dean Morgan should be Thomas Wayne and Javier Bardem should be Bruce. And you know, there's a lot of really good ones that got thrown around. John Hamm is Batman. You know, people have thrown around a lot of them for a long time. Sam Rockwell would be a good Batman. Like, but there's 3 or 4 of like my favorite actors that I was like, I'm just gonna copy and paste them like into here. And Willem Dafoe is like the only person I could think of for the Joker, and not even physically. Like, obviously physically, I mean, look at that fucking dude. I was like, but the acting talent from Willem Dafoe is just like, he's one of a kind, man. But Christoph Waltz, like, fuck you, dude. I'm so pissed I didn't think about it. You can tell Zoe had put way more time into this than I did, and I'm the one who proposed it. That's the fucked up part.
Man, if you give me a challenge, I'm just gonna go for it. But yeah, like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like, man, I don't know. Like, and I know this is kind of like, you know, blowing fucking smoke up my own ass, but I can fucking see my cast. Like, I can, like, right. I feel, especially Mark Rylance as Alfred. Like, you know, you just watch British Spies or Dunkirk. Like, he's kind of like an older sort of like British gentleman, but like he's still like a top-notch actor, you know? I can just see it. I can see all of it. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. I didn't really think about Superman. Arnie Hammer. You know, he was supposed to be like Batman for a long time. I think he would be great. You know who actually would be a fantastic Commissioner Gordon? Tom Hanks. I just thought about that. Like, Tom Hanks would be good.
Tom Hanks in the Sully fucking makeup, like he's got the gray hair and shit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just Googled Mark Rylance. I can definitely see it. I definitely can. Yeah. So, yeah, that's our fan casting. Warner Brothers, get back to us. But without any further ado, I say we jump into this episode. What do you say, buddy?
Let's get into this.
P.S. I have the right to reserve my picks at the halfway part and the ending part of this episode.
So thank you very much. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Oh, man. Okay, so here we go. This, you know, here we are in the future. This feels like Batman Beyond. Love Batman Beyond, by the way. Huge fan of that show. Absolutely love it.
I've only seen one. I think I watched the movie, the Joker Returns, right?
Yeah, like the Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
God, fingers crossed for Batman Beyond, for real.
Terry McGinnis' story needs to be told. It's weird to me that we've told Bruce Wayne's story like 80 million times, but let's get Terry McGinnis in here, please.
Right. Well, look at what Into the Spider-Verse did, dude. It's time. It's fucking time. Like, just do it. You know, that show came out when I was a kid. Like, I'm 30 now. But we see Bruce Wayne. He's racing this car. We're getting the setup of the future. Really, this is just my first paragraph of notes. I'm going to be honest, and it's going to summarize a lot of shit here. And we'll free. We don't have to just not go back. But Bruce Wayne's racing. We're getting a setup of the future. Crime is at an all-time high. Bruce Wayne's been retired for 10 years from Batman. The mutant gang is the new big bad. James Gordon is a month away from retiring, and we know that Jason Todd's death is what has kept Batman retired. Harvey Dent is recovering, and Alfred is somehow still alive. Joker is comatose and in hospital. So that's kind of like the first, because we got a lot of ground to cover. I don't want to skip over anything, but I think that's a good setup. And
Absolutely.
by the way, all of that happens in the fucking first 5 minutes of this movie. It's insane. At the 11th,
you should have seen the mental gymnastics that I was doing, to try and figure out where everyone is.
Dude, by the 11-minute mark, Harvey Dent has escaped and is a bad guy again. You're like, what the fuck? How did you do that fast? But what I really want to do, just take a step back in what the conversation is between Commissioner Gordon and Batman. That's fantastic. He's like, and here's to 10 years, and here's to me joining you. And Bruce just doesn't react to it, because you can see how sullen and just withdrawn Bruce is. What did you think about this world that we've inhabited and seeing Bruce being basically he's not an alcoholic, but he's you had us fooled back then drinking that ginger ale, telling us it was basically you were playing the billionaire playboy, but you were drinking ginger ale, you weren't really drunk. And then he's drinking the drinks, and he's like, I see you've made up for that since then. It's damn, that is some good dialogue, right off the rip, dude.
It's
what did you think about this?
Yeah, it's really good exposition. So a really good way to tell us about his habits and his pitfalls. I'm coming into it post the Dark Knight Rises, the Nolan film. So the first half of Nolan's film is kind of pretty much this setup. It's his Batman who's been missing for, I think in that movie it was 7 years, right? So they're all kind of wondering where's the Batman, and in that movie Bruce Wayne's a bit of a he's a bit of a shut-in, recluse. I was like, why am I blanking on the R word? But yeah, he's a bit of a shut-in, a bit of a recluse, and when I saw it in this movie, I was like, oh, okay, cool. So that's where Nolan kind of got his inspiration from. But yeah, it's some really good exposition, and really different for a superhero to be having this kind of problem. I know that Tony Stark went through a demon in the bottle kind of situation, but yeah, no, I'm always intrigued by the way that writers are able to insert adult concepts into comic books, because if I told someone I was reading a comic book, they'd be like, oh, that's for kids. That's just there's this whole mentality that comic books can't be for adults, or cartoons cannot be for adults. But that's just really not the case anymore, especially these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that when that line got crossed, when we went from comics to graphic novels, and that's really when that all kind of that ball became unwound. I love the world setup here. I love basically that the world has turned to shit because there's no Batman. And you're exactly right about the Dark Knight Rises. There's literally when the cops are driving in this, it's oh, you're in for one hell of a show. That's from Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Returns.
You don't think I didn't pick up on that shit, Christopher Nolan? I know it all, dude.
And for the life of me, I think I saw Dark Knight Rises before this, and I immediately was like, this is so much better than Dark Knight Rises. I love Rises though. I actually kind of do. It's the worst of the three, but I still
Rises. I don't love it.
Right. Well, it's gold, bronze, and silver. Bronze is still worth something. It still has value to it.
But anyways, it's nothing wrong with silver. Nothing silver at all. Nothing wrong with silver at all.
You could be in second, third. Hell, there's even fourth.
I'm just gonna bury it deep down inside and never bring it up again.
Much what Bruce Wayne does with alcohol, actually. No, and I love this whole thing of seeing all this stuff being set up. The fight when the mutants, slice and dice. Oh, he's a big spud. I love the city speak. It's amazing. But this whole thing of the imagery of seeing his parents die, him falling down the well and stuff. But one shot that I had to stop, and it's I will kill myself if I don't talk about it, is when Bruce is looking and his pupil turns into one of the pearls that falls. That is absolutely beautiful, dude. That is so well done. And I just, God, I love this. Seeing him right off the bat that the fight is not gone, that he's like, come on. Like, whoa, Spud's into it. Come on. And it's like, oh, that's so badass, dude. Peter Weller, Dr. Peter Weller, by the way, did you know this? Did you know he's a doctor?
No.
He had, okay.
What?
While enrolled at North Texas State University, he played trumpet in one of the campus bands. He graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Theater and began his acting career, blah, 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 blah. In '04, Weller completed a Master of Arts degree in Roman and Renaissance art at Syracuse University.
Oh,
In
shit.
'07, he began a PhD at UCLA in Italian Renaissance art history. In 2013, he filed his dissertation entitled Alberti Before Florence, Early Sources Informing Leon Battista's Alberte's di Pictura. I'm like,
What?
And he was awarded
like, dude, he was still like acting. Like he was in Sons of Anarchy. He was in Star Trek Into Darkness. Like he was doing shit. Like
2014, he got his doctorate. So there you go.
Wow.
And he lets it known, like he does those cameo videos. He's like, this is Dr. Peter Weller. And I'm like, all right, calm down there. But I love this.
I love
he's
his
great.
Voice, dude.
He's so good. Like, there's some parts that are kind of laughable that make me laugh out loud a little bit. He's like, tonight I am the law. Tonight we are the law. And I was like, there's some parts that kind of make me laugh, but it's believable for and I also want to talk about the size of these people. The size that Frank Miller makes, dude. Even Gordon looks like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude.
Yeah,
Everybody's shoulders are like 3 feet wide. And it's mind-blowing, dude. By the way, I actually just thought Pierce Brosnan for Joker would be awesome, actually, by the way. I just thought
I guess it.
But basically the fight's not completely out of Batman yet, and the guys run off and leave him alone. We kind of get this whole setup with them in the hospital. Let me see here. Yeah, with them in the hospital, we see Joker's comatose. I love that whole conversation. He's like, look at this guy. He's not even sweating. He's like, I don't want to look at him. You look at him.
Right. I just want to quickly point out, Joker's voiced by a guy named Michael Emerson.
Hell yeah.
Dude, Michael Emerson is the MVP of Lost, the show Lost.
Mhm.
Man, he is fucking incredible in that show. Like as soon as I heard the Joker speaking this, I'm like, oh my god, it's fucking Ben from Lost.
I dig him, dude. He does a great job. And there are some
it's
parts
a hard
of
act
this.
to follow, right? Like it's a hard act to follow Mark Hamill's shoes.
Right. Well, and then not only that, but then how absolutely downright, like Mark Hamill's Joker doesn't really scare me. And there are parts where I look at that Joker and I am like, whoa, that's fucking dark, man. That's some scary shit.
Do you want to just quickly just talk about like how do you think are you happy with the way Michael Emerson followed Mark Hamill and the way that what's his name? Peter Weller followed Kevin Conroy? Because like I feel like, I was never like a big like animated Batman watcher, but every time like I see Batman in an animated form, I can immediately hear Kevin Conroy. And maybe I think that's down to the Arkham games because I just put so many hours into the Arkham games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice to shake it up though. It's nice to see somebody else do it. I think Peter Weller's a fine choice because he's not going to make a career out of it. I think that Michael Emerson's a fine choice for Joker. I think he emulates what is typical about that character, but makes it his own all at the same time. And this is not Mark Hamill's Joker. This is a 25-year-older Joker.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a Joker who realizes now if he doesn't get Batman to break his one rule or cross that line, it's not going to happen. There's a desperation to like Michael Emerson's Joker that I like.
Yeah.
Whereas like Mark Hamill's is more like, I know you'll come for me because you'll never stop doing this. But this Joker has had 10 years to sit there and be like, Batman, like, it kind of makes me interested. Joker is like a spurned lover. He's almost like, you left me. Like, you left the dance room. And I was like, that's
constantly
awesome.
Harassing Batman. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Batman should just get a fucking restraining order.
Right. Well, I also want to see, like, what did Joker do that Bruce Wayne ignored for years? Like, who did he maim? Who did he kill? Like, what all happened that Joker did that, I could see Joker live on TV about to like skin a nun and Batman just ignore it and be like, if I give into it, it's like a screaming kid. It's like eventually you have to just ignore that kid. You can't run to them every time.
Well, and I think the act was killing Robin, right? Like that was my understanding.
Right, that's what makes Batman retire. But I'm like, Joker would not have stopped there. The Joker like probably 2, 3, 4 more times tried to do something and realized he's not coming. And like, that's insane, man. I want to see that 10-year gap of like what Gotham was like. I think that'd be so interesting. We see Harvey Dent's been rehabilitated, both sides match. I love the press conference where it's like, he holds up the coin and it's both sides.
Yeah.
But then again, the transitions are great immediately. Those were Harvey Dent's last words before he disappeared 2 weeks ago. And you're like, oh, that's awesome, dude. That's so good. They cover time so well in this fucking movie. What did you think of Harvey Dent in this short role, but sweet? I mean, did you dig it? Did you not? What do you think?
Yeah, he didn't leave that much of an impression on me. Only because he's he's barely in it. And like my Harvey Dent is Aaron Eckhart. I loved Aaron Eckhart's. I think that Aaron Eckhart's Two Face in The Dark Knight is just so underrated and underappreciated, but only because there's a bigger villain in that gets to steal the limelight.
Sure.
But if Heath Ledger's Joker was not in The Dark Knight, then Aaron Eckhart would probably be the best part of that movie. He's just my Two Face. But the Two Face in this didn't really leave that much of an impression on me, only because he's barely in it. He's
Right,
barely
yes.
in it.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, Liam Neeson for Two-Face. Love it. I'm casting that.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
So basically after this is where Batman has this whole come to Jesus moment. He's like, I can't escape this anymore. I really love that he's watching The Mask of Zorro, and that kicks off like everything. And it's him watching the TV, watching himself, like kind of thing. It's like, dude, that's incredible. Like the imagery in this is just absolutely nuts.
Is it The Mark of Zorro?
Yeah, Mark of Zorro. Sorry, I said Mask. Yeah, the Mark of Zorro. Basically, yeah, and then he becomes Batman again, which is in some comics, it's like they're at the opera. A lot of them say that it's a Zorro movie. In fact, Batman versus Superman, it's a Zorro movie, like for sure.
In Nolan's film, it was something else. It was like
it's like a opera or something. It
was actually like a bat related thing. Like it was an actual bat related. Yeah,
there's like dudes spinning on wires and shit.
Yeah,
and I think, dude, I want to say even in Joker, but I'm probably misremembering. I've only seen that once. That when the family leaves the theater at the end, that there's like Zorro something. Like I feel like I saw that, but I could be misremembering it.
It's Zorro. It's 100% Zorro. I watched it. I watched that movie again. Yeah, I watched that movie again literally like 2 weeks ago at the movies.
Nice. Damn, I got a good memory. I haven't seen that since October.
It's Zorro the Gay Blade.
That's right, because I laughed at that. No, I'm just because I'm a child.
Don't worry, I did. I laughed at it.
Really, we can just we see Batman. This is him. This is almost like the fun and game section of this movie. This is where he's getting back into the swing of things. He, fucks up that pimp, and the guy who's like, "Come in here, mommy. I need you." And you're like, whoa. Like, it's so great because PG-13, there's no violence, there's no sexuality. It's like the theater of the mind, the implication.
Yeah.
And like, that is so good. But then when he pulls him in the door and you look behind and it's just a trail of blood leading down the hallway, you're like, whoa, this is not what the fuck I thought I was watching. Like when I saw it, I remember watching this and be like, all right, put my bowl of cereal down. I gotta whoa, what the fuck is going on here? Like that, it took me totally by surprise. And I was like, all right, I gotta put my seatbelt on. This is getting crazy. I was like, this is gonna be so good.
Is this actually PG-13? Fuck, I actually thought it was an R.
No, it's definitely PG-13 because they, they want an older audience, but I think they also kind of want to dip their dicks in both worlds and be able to get that. Right. Because I would have no problem like letting a 10-year-old watch this. There's nothing, horrible about it. There's no difference. But yeah, this is, I believe, he fucks up that pimp. I love how he punches through the roof of the car. Dude, it's Batman. I get it, but like, come on, dude, that's a bit much.
It's something you can only pull off in an animated film.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. He takes to the street. He fucks up that pimp. He fucks up this guy. We're also introduced to Carrie Kelly when they go to the arcade, and he blatantly murders a man. By the way, there's no way that guy's not dead. He just throws him into an electrical field. Which Snyder has said this is, obviously a huge influence on Batman versus Superman, where people were like, but Batman kills people in that. It's like, no, he definitely does. But my thing is like, you kill a few bad guys, so like millions of innocent people, like think of what Ben Affleck has seen. Batfleck has seen with a nightmare vision and shit. Like, yeah, I'll kill fucking a dozen bad guys. I don't give a shit. Like,
Well,
why
for
do I
me,
care?
it's like, and like, I'm not the biggest fan of Batman vs Superman, but like, I will defend that Batman and like the
Yeah.
characterization only because, like, again, like what he's seen and like the level of like, I am done putting up with that shit anymore. That I will like, it's the needs of the many outweigh the whatever, like, you know,
The
like
lives of a few pieces of
right,
shit.
exactly. And like I'll do whatever it takes. Like I just like I feel that from Snyder's like
Yes,
Batman vs Superman.
absolutely. Well, that and you feel that where he's like, if there's even one chance that he'll turn on us, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. Like, what would make him do that? But back to this movie, we see. What do you think of Carrie Kelly? Like, did this Robin like throw you through a loop? Were you like, whoa, that's kind of different?
Well, I've never seen a female Robin. Like it's just it's never really
Right.
been like introduced to me at all. But I really like Ariel Winter. Like she's from Modern Family and stuff like that. I liked her, man. Like she well, actually, I like the relationship between her and Batman because like Batman is not like immediately like go home, like, you know, like he's just like
Right.
he takes her on board and like he's just I love the running joke about like do this or you're fired.
Yeah, I love
Um,
that.
But like, ooh, okay, I don't know if he should have been like go home because he's already lost a Robin, right? Like, is this kind of like what's he trying to do here with like trying to bring trying to bring her on board?
Yeah, I kind of thought about that too, and I think the only thing that I can really raise up and like not even defense, but like trying to think of an answer to that is when he's like, Alfred's like, "Did you forget about what happened to Jason?" And he's like, "No, of course. Jason was a good soldier. He honored me." He's like, "But the war goes on." And I'm like, and I think that Batman is not saying like I can just throw these kids around and let them die, but he's like that what happened was a one-time thing and that's not going to happen again. Because and I think he also really restricts what he lets Carrie Kelly do. He's like, "Do this and go home. You were to fly the helicopter, drop me off, do this, and go home." He's never like, "I want you to actively engage in battle with me," because he's like, "I haven't trained you. Like, I can't let you go in there and the two of us take down fucking Killer Croc because you'll get eaten." It's
Right,
like we
right, right.
can't.
There's still
Right.
that level of protection.
Right, but you're exactly right. There's still a level of like, dude, did you forget like what happened the first time around? But I like Carrie Kelly a lot. I think there's this awesome. It's almost like so. I don't know. It's kind of like living through a younger person, like with my nephews and nieces and stuff, and they're into like Fortnite and fidget spinners and hoverboards and stuff. And it's kind of like an interesting thing of like, it kind of brings the youth out of you again when you're like a little bit older,
Oh
and
yeah.
like, I know I'm just a few years older than you, but hitting 30 and having a 10-year-old nephew who's like, "Dude, check this out." I'm like, "Hey, that's actually kind of cool." And you feel like you're in on something. It kind of makes you
Absolutely.
feel a little bit younger. But I also think there's something interesting about looking at Batman, who's dark and quiet and grizzled and then here's Robin, this spunky, short, red hair, red, green, and yellow everywhere. There's something interesting about that. Like, you need that yin and yang, and it's almost like a buddy cop relationship. Like, I
Yeah,
really
it
like that.
absolutely
It's
is.
like maybe excuse me. I do think I do think Batman should be like a little bit more reluctant, but the situation they find themselves in when she saves his life, literally, it's like, well, I can't really. I think it's also something with him being like, I'm not 30 anymore. Like I'm almost twice that age. I have to accept some kind of help if I'm going to do this again.
But here's my
That's
thing. Like Carrie Kelly in this movie brings out one of my favorite, or well, not favorite, but one of the most interesting elements of Batman, and it's kind of like this level of selfishness that he has. Like, you know,
yeah,
like I've just lost a Robin, but I will not hesitate to bring on another one if it means that, you know, we get to fight crime and like, you know, like we get to keep people safe. Like it's still like a level of like selfishness because he's kind of like out here as a symbol to strike fear in the hearts of like, you know, criminals. But at the same time, he's not thinking about like the safety of someone as young as Carrie Kelly.
I will. I respectfully disagree with the
Oh,
not
fuck
having
off then.
hesitation. Yeah, the obviously there's some kind of hesitation because he's retired for 10 years. And it's also a thing of like, hey, you called me, I didn't call you. Like, you're the one who showed up on my door. So, like, whatever you do is of your own choosing, like, kind of thing. But I think it's 50-50. I think he knows the risk of it, but so does she. And I think that's the best way I can summarize it is like, no, there's not an actual like user agreement you get to sign, but
Does
you know
she?
what's
Isn't she
happening.
like 14 though? Like, I mean, like, if I was a 14 and I saw like my superhero, like my idol, like, fighting out there, then I'd want to join. But like, I'd want to join only because I'm inspired by this guy. Like, I don't really know. I don't really know if I'd understand the risks
Right.
at
Well, the
14.
first time somebody comes up and punches her in the face, you know, and breaks her
Yeah.
nose, she turns around and quits. Like I wanted
Yeah.
to box when I was in high school. I loved boxing.
Oh, I
And
did.
the first time somebody fucking chipped my tooth and shattered my nose, I was like, okay, maybe I should like pick up a book. Like maybe
Wait,
this
you weren't
isn't for
wearing
me.
gloves?
No, no, yeah, we were. I still got my shit fucked up though. Like,
Nice.
um, maybe a 280-pound kid who's never lifted a weight in his life should not try and be a boxer. Maybe don't do that. But anyways,
uh,
so we're introduced to Carrie Kelly. We see this kind of crime wave. We're in for a show tonight, kid. Like what we were just talking about. Batman chases these bank robbers. There's the one car that's kind of the decoy. I like all this. He chases them into the abandoned building. What does he say? He's like, Turk said he killed the Batman. It's like, yeah, Turk says a lot of stuff.
right. I mean, like, I
Um,
like that it gives like even just the goons like this level of character, right?
Yeah, it's cool. We also need to see him like this is the first time we've seen this Batman kick ass. Like we really need to see him like do it. And I think there's even a part where he tries to sneak and they hear him and he's like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Well,
"Okay, you're not as quiet as you thought you
the
were."
way he has to, like, in the comic book, the way he has to climb up that rope using his feet as well, like,
Oh,
he realizes just how old he is, man. Like, I love it.
right. Well, yeah, and he's been, you know, lifting the drinks and not the weights, you know. But of course, you know, he fights all these guys off. The terrifying thing where he throws the rope around the dude and just pulls him into the dark hole, and you're
Oh,
like, oh fuck, dude, this Batman is scary. Like this is so fucking terrifying. And yeah, he chases down the last robber. He crushes his fucking femur and finds a Two-Face coin on him, and he scratched both sides of the coin out now. Which is kind of, you know, well, what the fuck does that mean? Um, I love the cop where he's like, "You just crippled that man." He's like, "No, he's young. He'll walk again, but you'll stay scared." And I'm like, "Oh, that's so badass." And basically the media, you know, kind of goes nuts. There's been sightings of the Batman. He saved some kids from being kidnapped. I love they're like, and the woman, she's like, the kids reported that the savior looked like a man dressed as Dracula. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And she kind of gives like a little eyebrow raise, like, you know who he is. I love all this. And the fact that at first there's not really anybody like he's a menace. We need to stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. But as it goes on, there's always the naysayers. But the people in the like, I have to say, you know what's so fitting about this is that Peter Weller plays RoboCop. Frank Miller wrote RoboCop 2. The whole newscaster shit of this feels like RoboCop. All the world building is so RoboCop, dude, and that feels so similar to that of like the most cheery people in the world telling you horrible shit. It's amazing. I like this whole thing with I like this whole thing with you know, the Two-Face goon. He's like, you know, trying to get out, and he's like, yeah, Murphy, write up a release form for victim here. And he's like, no, my client has to be protected. He's like, no protections here. You want some gum? And like they kick his ass out. I like this. I like the fact that Gordon knows what's up. And basically he just fucking, you know, calls Bruce Wayne and tells him straight up, like, hey, we're releasing this dude. You know, I absolutely love that. And Batman
Well,
chases him down. Sorry,
that's
go ahead.
something that's no, that's something interesting that I just kind of want to touch on too. Like, we do see in the Nolan films the collaboration between Jim Gordon and Batman, not Bruce Wayne. Um,
Mhm.
but I love, like, something that struck me about this movie was just how closely Batman and Bruce Wayne and Gordon work together. Like, there's this like
Right.
level of collaboration that you don't get in the movies because it's always like, oh, Gordon's a cop, he should be chasing the bad guys. Like he should be chasing Batman, he's a vigilante. But like I really because I remembered that, like, growing up as a kid, just how closely Gordon and Batman work together, like side by side. and like Gordon is not technically supposed to because he's a vigilante, but I love that they highlighted that in this movie.
Yeah, I think on a long enough timeline, it's like Lucius Fox in Batman Begins. Like, dude, you have to have help and access it in a 360. If you're only accessing this help as Batman, you're getting 180 and not 360. It's like if you can do both, it's just that much easier. But I do also like the thing of like Gordon. I'd love a line where Gordon's like, I can help you. I need plausible deniability. I need to like not know who you are. So if anybody ever tries to extort that from me or whatever, what do you think of the bat suit, the switch? We can start with the blue and the yellow and switch over to the black. Like, do you like the bluish? It's like a more 70s vibe, if my memory serves me correctly.
Right? Yeah, I obviously like the second one a lot better. I mean, like I just think I don't know. Yeah, I remember playing the Arkham games and like switching between the skins, and I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
yeah, like I don't know. I feel like the darker one fits the aesthetic more and like fits the thematic of like what they're going for. Like it's a bit of a darker story, so therefore we need a darker suit. But I mean, like I do. Like, there's a part of me that really does dig the old classic, like blue. Like, it looks awesome. It looks great.
Well, and it's also very fitting. I mean, just the color from this lighter to the darker as the story progresses and everything starts kind of getting deeper and deeper and deeper. Thematically, it makes sense. Oh, and I don't want to go past Two Face's Doctor and Joker's Dr. Bartholomew Walpert. This guy, what an insufferable prick. This
You know,
fucking doctor.
it's funny you say that because he's played by an actor named Michael McEwen,
Yeah.
who is in Better Call Saul, and he is an insufferable prick in Better Call
Yes.
Saul.
I've seen him and stuff like through my childhood, and I'm like, God, you just want to punch that dude in the face, you know?
But he's a fantastic actor. Like the
Yeah,
actor,
he's
Michael
great.
McEwen himself.
He's great. So yeah, basically Batman tracks down this Two-Face goon. We see Gordon reigniting the bat signal. That's fucking badass.
Ba-na-na-na-na. Ba-na-na-na-na-na.
I also think it's interesting because we see almost a little bit of that Batman Begins, like, I don't have to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Yeah.
Like when the guy falls out the window and he's bleeding and he's like, I'm the only one who can help you, and it's like, I like that. I like what Bruce Wayne's like, dude, I don't have the time or the energy to like put the fucking work, put the, the ringer to this guy. Like, I've just got to do what I can do.
Something we didn't talk about, dude. We didn't talk about the score. I need to talk about the score for this movie.
Yes.
Fucking awesome, dude. Christopher Drake. I found myself listening to the actual soundtrack of this like afterwards, like when I finished it. It's just it adds so much to the movie.
It's Hans Zimmer as fuck.
Yes, it totally is. It's Hans Zimmer as fuck without being Hans Zimmer, but there's elements of like Danny Elfman in there as well. Like, there's elements of like the fantastical Tim Burton Danny Elfman score. But yeah, man, like I don't want to go past like mentioning like Christopher Drake's score because it's absolutely fantastic. Like the drums, dude. Oh, I love it. I love it all,
dude. Abso-fucking-lutely. I might have a couple of tracks to hit you with in the second half. Maybe we'll see what.
Son
happens.
of a bitch! That means fucking editing. God damn
it. And yeah, basically he finds out what's happening with the with Two-Face and what Two-Face is going to be doing. Gordon also Gordon also comes back with his information. And basically, I mean, what do they say here? He wants. Well, actually, no, we haven't gotten to his demands yet. They know that it's on a Tuesday. It has 2 helicopters. It's going to be twice as big. Whatever. They're going to attack the Gotham Life building, which does what exactly? Like,
I don't know.
What does the Gotham Life? Anyways,
there's always like buildings like this that pop up in like Gotham and Metropolis. That is just like, why are there buildings? But something that I found really interesting was that in the comic book, it was actually 2 towers. I think for obvious reasons, like they changed it, right?
Right. Absolutely. Have you ever seen the Batman building in Nashville? Have you ever seen that before?
No. What?
they call it the Batman building. It's Bell South. It's like a Bell South building. It's a phone company, and it looks like Batman. It's just a building with 2 points on it. It looks like ears. But growing up, in this 30 minutes away from Nashville, we always called it the Batman building. And I swore as a kid that's where all the suits were. That's where the fucking Batmobile was. Yeah,
That's cool. The AT&T building. Yeah. Okay.
right. Okay.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was like owned by Bell South, like growing up, and now I don't even know if that company exists, but AT&T, yeah, that sounds like it. But yeah, anyways, they meet about the attack on the Gotham Life building. I love what Gordon says here. He's like, you can't just bring in Harvey and be done with it. It's bigger than that now. And it's like, I love that. He's like, you can't just sweep in this once and be done with it, man. Because what we also don't know until the second half, what's interesting here is the agreement between the federal government and like the Justice League, basically, that,
Which
they were
is
supposed to
something that's really
disband.
interesting that I wanted to get into when we get into it.
Yes, because that's some real world implications. It's like,
Yeah.
what kind of agreement did did the federal government like? Listen, we can't control you, and we need to figure something out. Like, that's ridiculous, man. And basically, oh, and we also see the Joker again when they're talking about Doctor Bartholomew Walpert is on the TV. We see Joker, the flickers of life starting to come to him. I like that they actually sprinkle that in throughout the story, but there's so much going on, you don't really pay any attention to it. Like, oh, he's gonna come back, like blah blah blah. Two-Face arrives with 2 helicopters and demands a ransom, $22 million and 22 minutes. Batman fights his way through the men using a variant of Scarecrow's fear toxin. That shit was awesome.
Oh,
I love the way
dude.
it's not as cool. It's not as cool as Batman Begins, like Nightmare Batman. That was amazing. Like the oil black demon shit. That was amazing. But I do like this shit here. It's really cool. And seeing him fight his way through that group of guys and like his whole style of fighting in this is so interesting. Like I have never taken martial arts. I was a shitty boxer. I have no idea of anything of any kind of um martial arts, but seeing Batman, like, my favorite part is the guy who has the gun and he's just like looking, and out of nowhere Batman comes up through the air like arched back and just punch. It's like, oh, it's so good.
It looks good.
I
The fighting itself, like when it's shown, it's very quick, but the impacts, the hits themselves, I think they're kind of like slowed down. So like every time like
Right.
Batman actually like connects with someone, you see it kind of like slowed down, so it's a bit more impactful. And I just think that choice is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And basically, he's like, "Hey, the bombs were just for show. We were supposed to get the money and run. He wants to die and take thousands with him." Of course, Batman has the gadget belt. He's able to stop the first helicopter from being destroyed, but the second one goes off and kills nothing but a bunch of Nazis. No, I'm just kidding. I do like where Batman shoots. I love when he shoots the harpoon into the top of the helicopter, pulls Harvey out, and scoops him up and goes into the building with him. It's like, that is amazing,
Oh,
dude.
through
That's
the
so
glass, right?
cool.
Yeah, it's fucking fantastic.
So good. Oh, it's awesome. He defuses the bomb. He captures Harvey, but not before the second helicopter explodes. Dude, this scene with Two-Face is amazing. Dude, I know I'm overusing that word, but I just fucking love it where he's like, go ahead and get your laugh, and when you see what Harvey sees, the whole face is I'm trying to think, mutilated now, and he's like, "Oh my god, like, you think you actually look like that? Like, that's
Yeah.
so sad, man."
It's
And you
such
kind
a
of like,
Oh no, I was just
no,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
it's such a psychological take on a fictional character. Like, it's just so beautiful, man.
And you know what's really sad, actually, thinking about this, is that now there is literally no hope for Harvey Dent. Like, if like he had reconstructive surgery, he's gone through some kind of rehab, and I just don't know. I don't think that Harvey Dent will ever be able to bounce back from that. Like, now knowing the whole thing is fucked up, like, I don't know, it's going to take a lot of therapy.
And this
Um,
guy was the mayor at one point, wasn't he? Or the district attorney? God damn.
he's the DA. Like, and that's just, man. And the animated series did Harvey Dent a lot of justice as well. They did a really good job. And I think this is where, let me see here. Yeah, an attempt on Gordon's life is made. I love that. I think that's really badass. The woman comes on, she's like, Commissioner Gordon has been shot and killed by a 17-year-old mutant. She's like, no, wait, I read that wrong.
That
Like,
fucking tripped me out, dude, because I read that in the comic first, and I'm like, wait, what?
That shit had me laughing my ass off, dude. Yeah, attempt on his life and fails. Gordon also only has a month left. I don't know if we actually mentioned that or not. Carrie Kelly suits up for a clumsy first time as Robin, and Batman foils a child kidnapping that leads to a skyscraper interrogation. That is awesome. He's like, no cops, and I walk. Deal. It's like, you're not in any position to be making demands, and like the shot of him. Oh God, it's so good, dude. And the way they clip out and you hear the shout echo, it's like, Jesus, this is so good. Let me see here. Let me see. Okay, yeah. And what do you think of Carrie Kelly's parents? Were they like, man, Batman's a fascist. Look at all that marching we did. Man, that
Oh
mattered. Let me get
god.
another hit of that shit. And like, Jesus, don't give weed
Fucking
smokers a
kill
bad
me.
name.
Fucking kill me. Just no. This is back when like weed was, you could die off weed. That's when
Yeah.
this was made. Yeah.
It just cracks me up, the whole thing of like Batman's a fascist and stuff, and it's like, man, this is just ridiculous. I don't know, it kills me. We also see basically Batman interrogates the guy because the mutants had some kind of military grade weaponry. They have corporate sponsorship, basically. Like,
Oh
what the
yeah.
fuck is going on?
Well,
Um,
I mean, like this was pretty much used in Batman vs Superman. Like this entire scene where someone's got a massive weapon. I think in that movie it was KG Beast. And, like he had a flamethrower to like Martha's head, like
that's right.
Superman's mother's head. And then like Batman like busts in through the back wall. It's badass, man. I love this sequence.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the whole thing of the general who's been selling them weapons and he kills himself. You're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, that's crazy for Batman's story. Like, but it is totally undermined by Batman walking out the front door and walking down a hallway
Yeah.
in full costume. I was like, dude, take the window, you motherfucker.
Right.
Like, oh, that cracks me up. And yeah, and this is where we see I like Carrie Kelly. She's got, she's kind of doing some investigating. They're like, hey, we're meeting at the dump. He's like, I got plenty of time for speeches. Not talking speeches, man, talking war. And we are introduced to the Batmobile. What do you think
Oh,
of this shit?
this thing was more Tumblr than
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
Michael Keaton's kind of like Batmobile, the classic one. I loved it, man. This thing was like on fucking steroids. But I love like the comic book kind of like gives you a bit more like backstory on like the naming and stuff. I think it's mentioned in the movie where he's like, oh, Dick called this the Batmobile.
Right.
Like what a childish name for it, blah blah blah. And it's just so like, okay, all right, cool, calm down, Batman. But I love it, man. Like this thing is like a jack of all trades. Like it's just got everything, like everything inside it, like every weapon
Right.
system.
I think there are definitely two Batmobiles in this. Did you catch the second one?
No.
It's when Batman is like putting on the power suit to get ready to fight Superman. He's lifting up Michael Keaton's Batmobile with one arm
Oh
and he's
shit.
testing out the
Okay,
gear. And I was like, oh fuck, there it is. And it's like,
that's cool.
that's cool.
Nice.
But yeah, I love this whole thing. The imagery of Batman going to the junkyard and the flares just falling through the sky is so fucking beautiful, man. Like in the middle of all this dank, dark, awful shit, it just comes the fucking light down on you. Like, oh, that's so awesome.
Also,
Of course, Batman
the,
is
the mutant leader's
for it.
nipples are like pierced. Did you notice
Why?
this?
Dude, something with nipples in this movie. You got Nazi tit lady. You got Ava Braun D cup. That's fucking. I do not understand this. What do you think about the mutant gang?
I mean,
Yeah,
like I was
yeah,
a little underwhelmed by it. I mean, like, because this comic book had been so hyped up, by everyone, oh, the Dark Knight Returns, you gotta read it, blah blah. And then like the first like half hour is him like fighting like the mutant gang, and I'm just like, what is this? Like they're not like a iconic like Batman villain, and also like the mutant leader is just so like generic. I think.
yes. You're totally right. Like, my thing is, like, I like the idea of Batman having to fight like a gang that has turned into an army, but like, what if this were like the Court of Owls in the future? Like they're all owls and shit. Like it's not a necessarily like, it's not like we're the Riddlers or like, how in Batman Beyond, it's like we're the Jokers. I'm like, that's kind of stupid. It's like, I don't really like that, but I get it has to be something. It just feels like very 80s, like we have mohawks and visors and we're bad guys. It's like, no, not really. But I mean, this would not work if these were the last guys he fought. You'd be like, dude, this is terrible. This is the whole story. Like, that's bad. But the fact that it goes through Two-Face, the mutants, Joker, and Superman is like, dude, this little bit is just the beginning. Like, that's so
feels,
badass.
And but it feels like we need to get through this to tell the bigger story. Like, I don't. And like in that way, it kind of like feels like, okay, let's just get through this fucking so we can get to the good shit, you know?
Right. Well, and it's interesting too because we have this showdown and he loses, and like without Carrie Kelly's help, Batman's dead. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, elements of this actually reminded me of like the Bane versus Batman fight in Dark Knight Rises. I was like half expecting him to break his back.
Yeah, absolutely. Batman assaults everybody with the bat tank, rubber bullets. I love the mutant leader. Basically he says, you have all this machinery, you don't even use it to kill. It's just to keep you safe. Come in here and fight me like a man. I absolutely love when he starts unbuckling and getting out of the thing, and Alfred's like, "What are you doing, sir?" And he's like, basically he's like, "It's what?" No, Alfred's like, "Sir, he's in his prime. He'll kill you."
Right.
Like Alfred's like, "Dude, you're gonna fucking die."
Right. And like like Alfred does know best in like a lot of these situations. Like he's usually right. And Batman just fucking gets the fucking brakes beat off of him, right?
Dude, I love it. And also Batman's reply, "It's the only way I'll know. It's the only way I'll know if I've still got it." Carrie Kelly watches from the sidelines. I like that she's doing what she can. Like, it's almost like you need someone who's like the tank with the crotch rocket that can roll around and like shoot and stuff. Like, you need something that can be a little bit more mobile. And she's been fighting on the sidelines until Batman goes down for the count and she intervenes. Then Batman ruthlessly suffocates the leader with some kind of bat cum and is rescued by Robin into the Batmobile. Dude, you're fucking dead. Like, he just suffocates this man. They leave him there and drive away. And it's still on his face.
I love it, dude. Like, not that element of it, but I love that, like, Batman basically nearly killed himself just like out of ego, right? Like he wants to know whether he can like physically take on the mutant leader. He's got the weaponry, he's got the firepower to blow this motherfucker away. But, Batman's just like, I just want to see if I can do it. Like I just want to see.
Right.
It's all ego. And that is Batman. Like Batman is very egotistical. He's very like, I am he does do this to like fight crime, like to keep people safe, but like at the same time he's just like, I need to be better, physically better than the criminals that I fight.
Right, absolutely. I don't want to go too far into their fight, but I do love it. I love him biting Batman in the shoulder with those razor sharp teeth. And I love when Batman's just about to go down and his vision is doubling and he just makes that fist and breaks the guy's visor on his head. I was like, that's so cool.
Dude, as I'm watching this, like, and like, I know that this is a show with like a killer croc in the sewers, but at the same time, I'm just like, to the mutant leader, what are you? What?
Yeah.
What is your genome?
He's just like, I'm German. Like, oh, you're German. Okay, that's cool.
There is no God.
Yeah, there is no God. I love the whole fight. I think it's great. Carrie Kelly comes in and saves his ass. I really like that. They get, basically she gets him to the Batmobile and saves him. What is this? Dick used to call it the Batmobile. Sir, you're delirious. Like, I love Alfred. And he's like, what's your name? She's like, Carrie Kelly, Robin. And he's like, my name's Bruce. And like, oh God damn, dude, I get chills. I get fucking chills, man. It's so like, he's never met this person before. He has no idea who he is, but the stage is set because of what's just happened. I absolutely love it. And the fact that Bruce has never, ever done that, before, looked at a total stranger and be like, my name's Bruce. Like, oh man, that was like, it felt like in Spider-Man 2 when James Franco pulls off Tobey Maguire's mask, and you're like, oh shit, like that's so fucking awesome. And I like Carrie Kelly. She has agency. She's not waiting for someone to tell her something. She's a great, like, feminine character in the way of like, she makes the sling for his arm, and like, she doesn't wait for orders. Right. She doesn't wait for orders. I absolutely love that. I actually thought about, so my girlfriend has short hair similar to this, and we were talking about going to a Comic-Con and being Batman and Carrie Kelly from Dark Knight Returns. I was like, that'd be awesome. I wish I had that metal suit. And I'm not gonna lie, his metal suit at the end is still cooler than Ben Affleck's. I'm sorry, both of them are neat, but I love the way that this one looks. It's extremely similar, but it's just huge, dude. He looks like Ed 209. Like,
He looks like,
what the fuck?
He looks like Obadiah Stane in the end of Iron Man 2. Iron Man 1.
There you go. Right. No, that's badass. I love this. Once arriving at the Batcave, Carrie meets Alfred and Batman goes to find his strength. I love that you can get over multiple stab wounds and blunt force trauma by, mentally overcoming it.
Right. This is a huge subplot of Dark Knight Rises, right? When he gets thrown into the big well,
right.
he has to overcome the trauma. This is, again, you can see where Nolan's taking his inspiration from.
Dude, yeah, 100%. I like all this stuff. The whole city kind of responding to Batman. People are okay with it. People are not. I love the vision, though, right before that of Batman or Bruce Wayne as a little boy looking into the coffin, and it's Thomas Wayne. And then the hand gets placed on his hand. He cuts back, and it's Batman in the casket. I was like, dude, that's awesome. I love that. I think that's so cool. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. So they're at the Batcave. He goes to find his strength. As the people of Gotham debate the return of the Dark Knight, the mayor appoints Ellen Yindel as Gordon's replacement and arranges to meet with the mutant leader for some odd reason. I have no idea. Yeah, this is strange. The whole subplot of the mayor just getting brutally murdered. But again, I love the world building here. I love the guy who's like, we have to give criminals a chance. We can't just let people fall. He's like, what? Excuse me? No, I'd never live in the city. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And I love the pop-up of like,
at this point, anyone who lives in Gotham City, like, just what the fuck are you doing? Get out.
Right. Get the fuck out, man. I feel like we might have passed it already, and I'm going to kick myself in the teeth for forgetting it. But there's a scene where they're basically Galaxy TV's commissioner, James Olsen, says that the schedule will be blah, blah, blah. That's Jimmy Olsen from Superman. And I was like, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool. Lana Lang is in this.
Yeah. That was randomly. And I was
like, yeah. I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome, man. I really, really like that.
Throwing me back to my fucking Smallville days.
Dude, yeah. We're going to start a podcast on Smallville now. No, that sure should have stopped after 5 seasons. That's insane how long it went.
No, we're not. I just want to disclaimer. No, we're not. We're not starting a podcast.
I loved that show for 5 years, and then I just fucking was like, okay, cool. No, I'm done.
I remember really liking, was it Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor?
Dude.
Yeah.
He's absolutely great. I love him on Always Sunny. That one episode he pops up and he robs the bar.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, fuck. I forgot he was in that. God damn it.
Yeah. His name's Colin. His name's Colin in that episode.
That's why you like him.
Yeah, hell yeah. So basically, Batman's kind of recuperating. Let me see here. Yeah, and basically he's having this meeting with the mutant leader. Alfred tries to convince Bruce he was wrong about Carrie and cuts right to the point. Did you forget what happened to Jason? I'll never forget what happened to Jason. He was a good soldier. He honored me, but the war goes on. Absolutely love that. I love that the mutant leader is literally called Mutant Leader. Give me a name. Give me something, dude.
What would his name be, though? It would be Gronk or some shit.
Yeah. My name's Jonah.
My name's Jeff.
And the fact that they are interviewing him. Dude, this guy should be under lock and key. And he's like, we will bring the terror to God. It's dude, who is giving this guy a platform? What is going on?
So comic booky, dude. It's just so unapologetically comic booky.
Yeah, they should have put InfoWars icon in the bottom corner and be like, these are the only guys who will give this dude a platform. Yeah. And let me see here. So yeah, they have this meeting with the mutant leader. All of this shit is so stupid. He's obviously murdered. This is so, like you said, so comic book that they would just let this guy. It's so
totally.
It's so ridiculous. Man.
I don't want to go past that news anchor who's wearing the T-shirt where it's all this and brains too.
Yeah. Well, and dude, that's another thing is you see Dr. Walpert wearing the Superman shirt, but then a Batman shirt with the slash through it.
Yeah.
And it's hey, I'm okay buttons and stuff. You're like, what a dunce. Yeah, this is absolutely stupid. It's like one of these things where once you start applying like real world filters to it, you have to just like stop because you're like, okay, you'll fucking
Yeah,
blow your brains
it's
out trying to do that.
fantastical. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Batman's like, hey, listen, your training will take weeks, but we're gonna start tonight. You will do exactly what I say. Deaver from, whatever, straight from my plans, you're fired. This is really cool. I like the whole. Again, this is why Bruce Wayne and Batman are incredibly smart because it's like this is not. We're not gonna fight all these guys one on one. We're gonna round them all up and break their spirit. I
Yeah.
wonder what will break first, your spirit or your body.
Or your body.
Yeah,
I
or
love.
your body.
Oh, I love that he. Oh God, I love Tom Hardy. I love that he just kind of like convinced Carrie Kelly just to shave her head, just for this one thing. It's like, hey, can you just shave your
No,
head, please?
that's a bald cap.
Oh, is it? Okay, all right.
You can see her at one point take it off, but like
Oh, right,
it's
right.
fucking hair, dude. It's not like not like she's gonna be bald like me. Calm down, dude.
Hey, I
No, I'm just
love
kidding.
my hair. Okay.
No, yeah. I wave my 3 inches of hair around.
Not a visual
Um,
medium.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, Batman hatches a ploy to finally take down the mutant leader once and for all. He dispatches Robin into convincing the members of the mutant gang to a meeting at the Pipe. I love that. She's like, yeah, you probably mutants, I think. I don't shiv. And it's like, oh, dude. The city speak, though, he's like, licking checks, chicken legs. It's like, dude, I love it,
These
man.
guys are
I fucking love it.
morons, dude. What is it, Rob and Don? Fucking
Yeah,
morons.
one of these guys is. Do you know who Rob Paulson is? He's a famous voice actor. He did like the Animaniacs. He did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He does a lot of shit. He's one of these guys, I think. I know he's in this movie at some point. I think he's Rob or Don. Yindle shows up early for duty, and she and Gordon discuss Batman. Hey, I really like your career. You've been a hero of mine, but I just don't see, how we can see eye to eye on Batman. He's like, well, then let's not talk about Batman. I'm like, that's so cool. I love that. Basically, Gordon starts going into, he was at Pearl Harbor. He recalls he was present there and how President Eisenhower rallied everyone to fight. He also discusses the fact that Eisenhower may have known about the attack. He's like, I left that reeling around in my head for a few days. And eventually it was too big for me to judge. He was too big. I love that. She's like, what does that have to do with Batman? He's like, maybe eventually you'll understand like what it means. Like sometimes like these justice is not blind and that things can fall through the cracks and that people like Batman are the safety net to fix what we can't. It kind of gets a little bit of like Captain America Civil War. Like these best hands are still our own, and it's like,
the political
I love
elements of it. That's some of my favorite comic book elements, dude. Like this
100%, man.
The whole the conversation that, this applies to our real life as well. I just love that. That's one of my favorite things.
Right. I love the last moment between Batman and Commissioner Gordon. He's like, I'm counting on you, James, one last time. And it's like, oh, that's so awesome. I think that's so cool. The leader is released. He's like, come to say hello, old man. No, I came to say goodbye. Like, that is so good.
That reminded me of The Dark Knight when, Commissioner Gordon's like, it's just before the interrogation scene, and Commissioner Gordon's like, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee. And he's like, the good cop, bad cop routine. And he's like, not exactly. Like he's got like that knowledge that Batman is about to fuck this motherfucker up.
Right, 100%, dude. So the leader is released. He starts, fighting with Batman. He's like, "You're weak, old man. You slow." True, but we're all slow when we're thigh deep in mud. I gotta say though, Batman without the cape looks kind of cooler. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I always wish he would kind of ditch the cape. Like, there's two things I would change about these comic book characters. I wanted Batman to ditch the cape. Like, the Batman Beyond costume is my favorite, except for maybe like Flashpoint and the armored Batman suit. I think those are my top three.
He looks more like ninja-esque, like without the cape,
right? Yeah, he's definitely more League of Shadows. And I also think that they should bring back the like neck thing that Black Panther has in the comic books, like the Dracula thing behind his neck. Oh God, I think that looks so cool. Anyways, there's my soapbox about that. I love, and again, he outfights him here. He pulls like what Thanos does to Hulk in Infinity War. He just works. He's like, dude, I'm not going to sit here and punch you to death because if you just go brute force with Hulk, you'll lose. He's like, but he outfights him. He hits that bundle of nerves. He slices him right above the eye.
Strategically breaks down his body, man. This is like what
amazing.
Bane did to Bale's Batman in Rises, dude. Like, just strategically.
Absolutely. I love Robin Dawn. He's like, lead a Billy Berserk. Shh. Nah. He's like, Batman got to win this time. Batman's Billy Berserk. Shh.
Right.
And they're like, it's so good.
You can already kind of like see the faithfulness starting to fade away from the mutant leader, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the humor in the middle of this murder fight is just this humor. It's so good.
The murder brawl.
Batman fights the leader tactically and more efficiently, eventually breaking all of his arms and legs. Jesus Christ, dude. Like,
fucking Christ.
But I mean, like you said, this is what has to happen. Like, dude, this is one of my absolutely tip-top in the top 5 favorite moments of this movie is when that one guy is looking at Batman and Batman stands up and it's just like, we are the sons of the Batman. And it's like, oh, dude, like I lost my shit. I was like, that is so badass to see these people like just turn on a dime. Like, it's like they are pawns and he's the queen or king piece on there. And it's like, but they just have to be their water. They can be poured into a glass or a mug or whatever. And it just needs to happen. I love that, man. He's weaponized these people. It's so fantastic. I love Gordon retiring. He's like, looks like they really responded to it. He's like, yeah, we'll see what the future holds. And I love Gordon. He's like, well, you'll have to deal with that on your own, Bruce. And him retiring is so sad. He's sat in this office for like 30 fucking years and he has to give up his gun and his badge. Like, dude, I'd keep that shit. Fuck that. Let me see here. Yeah, Gordon retires. The mutants are dead. This is the new face of the law. We are the sons of Batman, and Gotham's criminals are about to enter hell. Gordon retires. The people of Gotham rise up to defend themselves on their day-to-day criminal element. Unfortunately, what comes up must come down, and Joker snaps out of it with more and more reports of Batman.
God,
it's
darling.
It's so good. I do, because I absolutely love it. It feels like such a midway victory where he was like, I saw some lady getting mugged on the street corner. This is my store, and then like all of a sudden it's like, yeah. And then this like, it's like beating one soldier up to see just like, like a whole platoon coming over the hill. Like, what the fuck? But yeah, God, I love him waking up, dude. Again, it's that same musical beat that, and it stops. Like, God, it's so good. Yeah, I'd say it's about the halfway point. This is the end of part 1. I think this is a good time to take a break and refill our drinks and maybe empty our bladders. Are you cool with that?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right, great. Guys, we will be right back with literally part 2 of The Dark Knight Returns. Don't go anywhere.
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever the hell you are. Thanks so much for listening to this episode, guys. Just while we're taking a quick break here, I am going to plug some shit. No, it's not advertising, it's nothing paid. It's basically just kind of self-masturbatory stuff. Basically, follow us. Follow us on our socials. We have 2 pages on Facebook called Midnight Double Feature, obviously, and then we have our main group, which is called The After Party, which is fantastic. Our community loves to engage there, and that's our main way to communicate with our audience. Please follow The After Party. That's a fantastic page. And please follow us on Instagram, which is at Midnight Double Feature, and Twitter, which is at MDF Pod. You can listen to us anywhere on iTunes, anywhere on Spotify, on YouTube, wherever. And if there's no way that you can listen to us on your device, please let us know by getting in touch with us. You can do that by sending us an email, which is midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com. Now, last but certainly not least, please remember to rate and review us on iTunes. We would love to get your guys' feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Just please remember to, put a star and let us know in your little speech bubble thingy what you think of us and where we can improve. That would be fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for listening to my little rant here, and back to the show, I guess. See you later.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to literally part 2 of The Dark Knight Returns. We are freshly squeezed, our bladders are empty, our coffees are full, and we're ready to jump right back into the second part of this fucking masterpiece of a Batman story. 3 months later, we see in the beginning of the second part, the public continues to argue the return of Batman as Joker launches a deceptive play to escape by the way of his doctor and the popular late-night Dave Endocrine show. Do you know who Dave Endocrine is? Who he's voiced by?
Yeah, I read it in passing. God damn it. Who is it?
It's Conan O'Brien.
There it is. I knew it. I fucking knew it. I was like, I'm a Jimmy Kimmel, Fallon. I can't remember. God damn it.
Dude,
okay, yeah,
Conan
awesome.
O'Brien to me was like, he was the king of late night. Like, fuck Leno, fuck Letterman, fuck Kimmel, fuck Fallon. Conan O'Brien was like my dude. He was my kind of humor.
He's definitely got
I
like
adore him.
Yeah, he feels a lot more genuine than than the other guys. I'll tell you what though, there is something that I came across very briefly. This is back when I can't remember what movie he was promoting, but Conan O'Brien was supposed to have Kumail Nanjiani on as a guest, and literally 30 minutes before the show, Kumail Nanjiani had to cancel because they were doing reshoots of Silicon Valley. So Conan O'Brien literally has no show. So he goes up there and just riffs, does like improv, and like he kills it, dude. This is all on YouTube. He's just like,
he's so good.
In the 25 years I've been doing this, I've never had a guest cancel on me like half an hour before the show. It's insane just how quickly he was able to recover, dude. Honestly, YouTuber is fucking fascinating.
Dude, my favorite Conan bit was when apparently there's a group of people that play 1869 baseball, like rules, costumes, period setting, like, yeah. And he went and played with them one day and dressed up in costume and had like this big red handlebar mustache and shit. And as they're playing, an airplane flies over the field and he goes, "Look, demonry!" Dude, and it's fucking hysterical, man.
That's awesome.
I love him. So yeah, what do you think about this whole thing, this ploy by the Joker using the I guess the stupidity of his doctor? You know, he's the doctor's playing right into his hands. Like, what do you think of his plan here?
I mean, like, we know as the audience that the Joker is just a mastermind. Like, you know, like he's not like he's definitely got something cooking. Like the whole time though, I was thinking about the film Joker, Todd Phillips' Joker, because that's the third act basically, right? He goes on the Maury show and he does like this massive speech and he commits murder. And you can totally see Todd Phillips' kind of like inspiration, like he drew it from this, right? Like he drew it from, and like I remember like seeing the trailers for Joker and like, you know, as he's kind of like, there's like the final shot in the trailer is like him, like, you know, behind the curtain, like as it's being pulled back. And I remember a lot of people speculating, like, holy shit, is he going to gas the audience? Like, is that what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, you know, what happens at the end of Todd Phillips' Joker totally fits what happens, like, you know, through in that movie. But yeah, man, like, I think, you know, the Joker is a total mastermind that is pretty much able to play anyone, dude. Even like sometimes Batman, he's able to like outsmart Batman even, and it's just so like that's what makes him my favorite villain of all time. You know, I love Darth Vader. I love, you know, like every iconic, you know, villain that you can think of, but Joker is my favorite for a reason. And it's just because like it's tough to get a beat on him. Like, you know, it's tough to, especially Heath Ledger's Joker, it's tough to like quantify what he wants because he doesn't want anything. He just wants chaos, you know?
Right. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and there's even a moment in this before he goes on stage, he kind of like braces himself and he doesn't quite do the whole like dance thing that Joaquin Phoenix does, but he does something kind of similar. I like the fact, and also you got to think Joker's been out for 10 years. For 10 years, you know, people who were little kids are now drinking age and they're like, dude, who is this guy? You know, he's nobody now, but people will still remember him. So I think it's interesting that I think he's also playing on that as well. But I love, he's like, must be nice being to go on the show and tell your side of the story. And he's like, you know, no one wants to hear from me. And he's playing this guy like a fucking fiddle. It's great. And we see it totally works. He's like, you know, I'll pull some strings, see if I can get you on the show. let me see here.
Okay, dude, Batman as this old lady tripped me out. I'm just like, what the fuck? What is going on here, man? This old lady's just
Well,
like
yeah,
beating the brakes off these dudes.
dude, I absolutely love it, and it's kind of mixed in with this like publicly the White House is declining comment about the recent events involving Batman, but privately President Reagan asked Superman to intervene. You know, it's like I'm not. You know, I love the fact he's like, it's good to have a wild Bronco gets the Bucks to, you know, break their hands in. He's like, but when one knocks over the fence, well, we can't have that.
Da, da,
I love it,
da,
and
da, 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 da,
I
da.
hate the S on the back of his cape. I was like, I hate that. That does not
Yeah,
look
just
like.
have
I
it
was like,
have
we
it
know
red.
who the fuck this is. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know who this is.
But I
Um,
mean, dude, the idea for me, like the idea of the White House privately asking Superman to intervene, like that
yeah.
right there, I can write an essay about this, man. Like, you know,
Well, it's Nixon asking Manhattan to step into Vietnam.
exactly. I'm so
Whoa.
glad you said that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that it's absolutely mind blowing. But yeah, him dressing up as this like lady on the cover of a National Geographic is extremely strange. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, this is so weird. Like, why do you have to be incognito if you know they're gonna be there?
Right.
Just show up and start kicking ass. But yeah, so Batman fights Ivan Drago with an amazing Nazi rack and is interrupted by
about
the
that.
Man of Steel. Do what?
I said I'd motivate that. I don't care about the
yeah, I mean,
the
she's
Nazi signs.
fit, man.
Yeah.
She's fit.
Kick
It's
my ass.
great.
Oh, have you seen? Have you seen?
Well, she wouldn't
Kick-Ass
let
2?
you anywhere near him.
Yeah,
but,
no, she wouldn't.
no, no, I have not.
Oh, there is this humongous Russian woman in that movie, and honestly, that is perfect casting. Like, look her up.
Also, for Batman, my perfect Dark Knight Returns, David Harbour. I thought about that from Stranger
Ooh,
Things.
Yes, that's a good.
I think that'd be
man.
good. I think that maybe, you know, and he's right about the same age. I think that would be good. Maybe a little bit younger, actually.
And he's in shape, right? Like after Hellboy, I'm pretty sure he got like a really buff.
Yeah, and he's like Captain Russia and Black Widow, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
And what I actually like is these guys holding up the liquor store. I'm pretty sure this is Rob and Don. Like, I'm pretty sure these are the
I
two
thought that
guys
too.
that are like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. You know, they kind of have this fight. I love, dude. There's one shot. I'm gonna be honest. When I'm doing like when we're covering movies and stuff like this, I don't really like to go like punch by punch and stuff. It's kind of, you know, you'll be here all day.
Right.
But there is a shot where one of those guys, either Rob or Don, they get like him up against the wall and they go to throw a punch and he like puts his arms up, blocks it, and then goes and headbutts right into them and just starts swinging. I was like, dude, this is amazing, man. He takes like a few punches, blocks it, headbutts, and then just starts left and right, like swinging. I'm like, God damn, this is good. Like, this feels like the Batman versus Superman warehouse scene, but it's the whole movie. You know, it's like that's how good. Like, oh man, that warehouse scene is amazing.
God, man, that is one of my favorite Batman moments ever. Like, ugh.
It's so good. I love that he's like, you know, pull that trigger and I'll be back for you. Like, but it's as the woman's mouth moving. It's so creepy. So yeah, and Carrie Kelly shows up. I love that she pops her in the head with the thing and gets caught anyways. Yeah, you did right, but you still fucked it up. And I love, you know, Superman. He's like, you know, you cost me hours of preparation time. We have to talk. I'm busy. You know, come and meet me tomorrow. My place in the morning. And I love that we still don't see Superman. It's literally him in shadow, and he just
dude, the
nods
red
and
eyes
flies off.
Dude, when he's going up against Mother Russia over here, like with the red eyes. I also don't want to go past the how he saves the blind man from the train. Dude, the way he stops this train in its tracks, you are looking at at least 80 civil lawsuits, dude. Like, you are getting, like, people are injured in there, and it's like, it reminds me of, like, The Incredibles.
How many people died.
Yeah. Dude, like, there is a moment in Incredibles, and this is why I love The Incredibles. Like, Mr. Incredible, you've seen it, right? Incredibles?
I have not.
Oh my God. Fucking murder me. But anyway, so Mr. Incredible stops this train in its tracks, right? He's got, like, superpower. Like, he's like, you know, he's got the strength, like the Superman strength. He stops it in its tracks, and it saves like a bunch of people because the bridge is out, right? Anyway, so like you just see like archive footage after that of like just like a bunch of like passengers in court, like as a class action, suing him because he's saved them, and like they're all like in like tourniquets and like like medical gear
Yeah.
and shit, and it's just like it's hilarious, dude. Like that's totally what would happen.
Well, dude, it's like Hancock with Will Smith. They're like, why did you just pick his car up off the track?
Right.
Like, it's so great. Yeah, the Superman is like Zap Brannigan for Futurama. It's like, no need to thank me. Like that feels like a Zap Brannigan move. It's like all about shoulda, not coulda. Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. But yeah, I love this. They agree to meet. In other news, a great world building. The Russian and U.S. conflict heats up on the island of Corto Maltese.
It's
and is
Cuba.
revealed via what?
It's fucking Cuba. Like, I mean, like they call it Corto Maltese, but it's Cuba.
Oh, I was like, wait, does the Australian version say Cuba? It fucked me up for a second.
No.
Yeah, definitely. In a White House press conference, it's revealed that there was an arrangement between the between the United States and the Justice League. A party is held for the new commissioner, and there she publicly announces her war against Batman. Talk to me about this agreement with the U.S. I know you mentioned something in the first half about sinking your teeth into this. So what is it? What do you think about this?
Well, yeah, I kind of like jumped into it initially already when Reagan was meeting with Superman. But I don't know, like there's this idea of like the government agreeing with the Justice League behind closed doors. It just seems so sinister, dude. Like I love like it's like it's a whole nother kind of like situation where it's like I don't know, like we're kind of like painting the American government in a bad light, and I love that about a comic book movie. Like I just
absolutely
like, that's just such an element that's like beyond the standard comic book tropes that you see in a lot of comic books. That it's just like, wow, man, this is like applicable to real world situations. Like this is the government making shady dealings with the CIA that are supposed to be kept hush hush. I love it.
Right. Well, this is the Keen Act from Watchmen, but like, with a few exceptions, it's actually, so, they mention, and Superman mentions it in about 5 minutes. We're pretty much here. Diana went back to her people. Hal left I think he left the Green Lanterns, or he left the planet, whatever. He totally, fucked off. Doesn't ever say what happened to Martian Manhunter, doesn't say what happens to Flash. We figure out what happens to Green Arrow. And the sequel to this, it's called The Dark Knight Strikes Again. It sucks, by the way. It's
really?
Not very good.
Oh, shit.
So they made Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight Strikes Again, Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. And that one just came out. Like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like title. About Kryptonians. Yeah, trust me, I thought that too. But that one actually seems a lot cooler than the second one. But the second one, I can't even remember the plot. Like Lex Luthor is president, and Lex Luthor has kidnapped the Flash, and he forces him to run like constantly, and it powers like a third of the country. And that's what happens to Flash. And you're like, oh, that's why he's not in this. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's super fucked up and like a goddamn horrible way for that person to live. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna mention, like when they mention like in passing about Oliver Queen, I thought that like something that Clark did ended up in Oliver Queen's death. And I was like, man, that is dark. Because, like, they don't mention it. Like, but, like, come to find out that he was, like, in prison. But still, man, like, it was just some cool foreshadowing.
Well, he cut one of his goddamn arms off. Like, he beamed one of his goddamn arms off. That's crazy, man. It'd be like Ant-Man going in Tony Stark's ass and blowing him apart. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Don't you mean Thanos' ass? That was what was...
Yeah. The thing that I like where we kind of have this meeting with, I'm sorry, not this meeting, this party for the new commissioner, Ellen Yendel, who's played by David Bowie. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta say though, if I'm smashing anybody in this movie, like, yeah, I'll fucking From Russia with Love all day long, but Ellen Yendel can fucking get it, dude. Like there's short hair and those glasses, and by the way, when she shows up to this thing with a suit and tie on, and I was like, oh, that's fucking hot.
By the way,
there's
dude,
something about that.
You're not fucking From Russia with Love. She's fucking you. Okay? Like,
yeah, she's fucking you. And Russia, fuck you.
They're gonna get pulled off the goddamn air.
Yeah, right. And I also, and kind of just because I didn't really give my thoughts on like the whole agreement, it definitely feels very Watchmen. It feels very the Keene Act.
Yeah.
But there is something interesting about like what was the agreement? You know, was the agreement like, hey, you're making too much collateral damage? You know, this the Sokovia Accords of DC? Like, I think it's really interesting to see exactly what happened, and that a lot of the parties went along willingly, and that it was Green Arrow and Batman who were like, hell no, like I'm not doing that. By the end of the Dark Knight 3, the Master Race, they're all back. Like Hawkman is back, like everybody's back. It's really interesting.
I'm always a fan of when they mix politics into superhero films, dude. Like, I mean, like Civil War is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, absolutely, you know.
Right. Yes, absolutely, man. And yeah, exactly what you said. There's something so like shady about that of the government, and it's so pathetic of the public knows that the government could not control these people and had to make some kind of agreement. And it's like that is such a black mark, you know, the fact that that's so crazy. That's absolutely nuts. So yeah, we see that they had some kind of agreement. She publicly announces her war against Batman. I really like that. She's like, you know, I respect the hell out of you, but effective immediately, the Batman is, wanted for battery and breaking and entering, like all that stuff. The following day, Batman and Superman argue over Batman's retirement. Diana went back to her people. Hal gave up the planet, and Batman brings up Green Arrow. I love it. Shut it down now, or one of these days, someone with authority is going to tell me to come stop you.
That sentence
Superman
alone,
flies off quick.
that sentence alone, someone with authority is going to tell me to come stop you. Superman is an alien who can do whatever the fuck he wants, but he needs direction from a human being. Like, I love that element of it, dude. Like Superman has no, like, for him to be fit, like, I don't know. I love the Superman story because anyone, like, there's this element of like Superman can be super boring, right? Like, he can be very, you know, one note, like, you know, he can kill anyone, he's on God mode, blah blah. But if you write Superman well and interesting, like, he can be really compelling. Like, I love this whole idea of like, for me to fit in, right? For me to fit into this world, I need to be able to play by their rules. Like, you know, I need to be
Right.
able to, I need to be able to bend to their will. So to do that, to be able to fit in, to be able to have, you know, Martin Park Kent, to be able to have his relationships at the Daily Planet, he needs to follow the direction of the president. And I love that, like, puppetry.
Right. Well, 100%. And I think there's something interesting with like if you watch the battle so far, like if we just want to break it down, we have Batman versus Two-Face, Batman versus the mutants, Batman versus Joker, Batman versus Superman. It's the one with Two-Face is actually Batman kind of coming to a reconciliation with his own duality. And the fact that Two-Face's head is now completely one thing, I think this also shows that Batman is just like he gives up being Bruce Wayne, really, at the end of this. He doesn't give up being Batman. I think that that's kind of him reconciling, becoming that. Versus the mutants is kind of like Batman versus society, like as it is now, like the form of different forms of conflict. Batman versus the Joker is also coming into like madness of almost like Batman versus the supernatural of like, and there's something so badass about the Joker fight, and we can absolutely get into that when it comes up. But there's something about, you know, this is the end of your biggest foe and your biggest friendship between, you know, all of the stuff that's happening. And then,
The one
you
person that
know,
understands
Batman.
you.
Right, exactly. Like, well, Joker and Batman are just like, I think it was Bruce Timm who said this. He's like, the reason why they're such great villains is because they've both been through the exact same hell, but their destinations were completely different. And I think that Batman versus Superman is you know, it's the God versus man. It's this Prometheus and Zeus like kind of thing that's so interesting. Anyways, getting back to this, yeah, Superman flies off. We are shown that the situation in Corto Maltese has intensified greatly. Joker prepares for his Tonight Show appearance with lipstick and nose plugs from Abner. I had to Google this guy's name because they never say it. I was like, who the fuck is Abner? He is only created for this, like, Dark Knight Returns, which is stupid because they have a character called the Toymaker. He's in, like, Superman Doomsday.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
why didn't you? Okay, whatever. But he also brings along the deadly duo of twin flying robot toys. Weird.
So comic booky, dude. I love it.
I know, but you know what? It fits in so well with like the giant dinosaur and the huge penny in the Batcave, like it almost fits along into that. Like when you have this giant stoic gothic character like Batman, to have these, like these like goofy kind of villains actually makes sense.
The binary opposites, yeah, absolutely.
Right, absolutely. And they are creepy as fuck though. They're effective. They are creepy.
Totally.
It's like Billy and Mandy or Billy and Sally or something. I don't know. This whole scene is amazing. With Batman lands on the roof of the studio building and fights his way through the police. That's all great. I like Joker having his own. I love that he's like I'd like a little bit more blush please or whatever. He's like, you want some lipstick, handsome? Like I love that part. But Batman fighting his way through that, and it's amazing when that cop is like, everybody's kind of look around, and then he looks up and he's like, oh my God, he can fly. And Yindel, like that would scare the shit out of me because this guy just came out of nowhere, and Yindel goes, not for long, he won't, blind him. And I was like, God damn, that's so cool.
That's what I want to talk about Yindel a little bit. She's very clever. Like you can see why she is now the new commissioner, like she's very quick to action. Like she's not like Gordon, who has sympathy for Batman. Like she's just like, nope, this guy should be stopped. And like she uses that very effectively.
Yeah, and she seems a little bit more proactive than like reactive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. I just can't get over the shot of him flying through the air and that guy being like, he can fly. Like it looks so good, especially once they hit him with the spotlight. This feels so Arkham Knight, dude. I've done that so many times, just gliding through like, I'm at 117% completion on that. And I've almost got all the Riddler trophies, dude, and I'm
even Rocksteady, like the studio behind that game, are just like, dude, I didn't even know we could go past 100. Like this motherfucker's going to like 117.
Dude, there's some way you can get like 240% on that game. And it's like you have to play it once and then play it over again, and you get like a Batman gold like costume and shit. But like you said with the skins, I'm always either Flashpoint, Batman Beyond, or Dark Knight Returns. And sometimes I switch it up. Like the Keaton one's pretty cool. But
I actually might play it again. Actually, I wish they'd remaster Arkham City, man. Like Arkham City was just goddamn perfect.
They did remaster Arkham City. It's called Arkham Knight.
Oh no, fuck that. No, shit. Fuck that. I don't like how much that game forces you to do Batmobile shit. Like I like the Batmobile, it's fun, but it just like
fuck
it
you.
fucking forces me. And I'm just like, yeah.
No, there are some times where I'm like, dude, come on, I want to just be able to do this. And there's so much detective mode stuff where it's like everything is solved by detective mode half the time. It's like, okay.
Let's talk about the Joker taking out. Oh, wait. Sorry. Did you want to?
Yeah, I was going to say Arkham Knight also has Ezreal, so fuck you.
Yeah, whatever.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so the Joker taking out Walper, dude, with the fucking mug handle. Oh,
right.
Oh man, that is classic fucking Joker. Like it's just, but like not even that, dude. It's just like the breathe, David. Breathe.
Right.
Oh,
breathe.
Fuck, man. Awesome shit. Love it.
Well, and the line before that where he's like, I gave you these no plugs, and to think this time I just held my breath. And it's that's so incredible. I also don't want to go past the part when Batman drops the never-ending smoke pellet, by the way, on the rooftop that just keeps it's like a Leonard Skinner concert, just keeps chugging out this fog.
So this is the Smilex gas, right? Like this is the gas that Joker uses pretty much all the time. Yeah.
Right. I like Yindel bringing in the choppers too to blow away the smoke. It's like, damn, that's so smart.
So
man.
clever.
That's awesome.
So clever.
It's also terrifying seeing the robots come in and the gas just like coming out of their mouth.
They got their dead eyes, dude.
In the comic book, he like starts riding one of them, like mounts it like a horse and just flies it around the studio. I'm like, that is crazy, dude. Joker murders everyone. Dave Endicrin, Bartholomew Walpert. I'm gonna kill everyone in this room. Batman narrowly escapes. Dude is getting his fucking guts pushed in. He's getting so fucked up. I actually do love the part, I don't want to go past it, where she's like, she's talking to one of the cops. She's like, rush him. And he's like, rush him? She's like, he's twice your age, son. Find the nerve.
Right.
Like, get your ass in there and fight him. Because again, she's like, he's a man. He's 60 years old. Like, go beat the shit out of him. Like, do something, man. I like Robin totally absolutely changing the bat chopper. She's like, peel, and it just fucking takes off. I love that. And she asked him straight up. He's like, "Hey, how many?" She's like, "I don't know, lots." Joker got away, and it's like, oh, it's such a somber note to end that shit on, man. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And let me see here. Yeah, so Robin shows up on the rooftop and saves Batman. They escape to the Batcave. Meanwhile, Superman continues to aid U.S. forces against Russia and Corto Maltese, and we are introduced to an aged Selina Kyle. I did not expect this, dude. This was a good surprise.
Well, yeah, add to the fact that she's what is she, an escort, right?
Yeah, she's like the maiden, I guess. She runs the place.
Yeah, right. So I was like super surprised, but at the same time, it makes sense. It makes sense for Selina Kyle, who uses his sexuality pretty much all the time with Batman to get what she wants, to be an aged escort. It just makes sense.
Right. Well, plus the fact that none of these lives have ended ever ended happily ever after. It's Rorschach, violent lives ending violently. Like, you run a brothel, like, one's comatose. It's like, I don't know. The center does not hold. All these things fall apart, and everybody ends in just like this tragic shit. Like, Alfred dies, like, in the snow, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, nobody gets a good, like, the story's dark when Thomas and Martha Wayne got the easy out. You're like, holy
they got the
fuck.
good one. They got the good death.
Right. Yeah, and Selina is visited by. Okay, this is a mouthful. Selina is visited by the Joker and brainwashed. She in turn brainwashes one of her girls to brainwash a congressman into calling for a full nuclear strike in Corto Maltese before falling to his death. God, that was so kind. It's like Joker to Selina to escort to congressman.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, cool, got it. We just saved ourselves like 12 minutes of movie.
I love that the Joker just walks in and basically just calls her a fat bitch. Like, he's just like, the years have not been kind to
you. Oh, that's. I didn't even think about who I would cast for Selina Kyle. I did not even think about that.
As soon as Jean Smart popped into my head, I just couldn't see anyone else. Like, just the way she also, like in Watchmen, just the way she carries herself is just very like older Selina Kyle.
Carla Gugino from Haunting Hill House.
I see it. Get off Watchman's dick. All right, you need to get off Watchman's dick.
Is she in Watchmen?
Yeah, she's the older Silk Spectre.
Oh yeah, God, I'd break her fucking hip, dude. Jesus Christ. Talk about a MILF. Good God, dude.
She is a Lisa Ann looking like woman.
Jesus Christ. I have had little boy boners for Carla Gugino since like Son-in-Law came out in the 90s.
Spy Kids, dude.
Good
For me,
God.
Spy Kids.
Oh, she's so fucking gorgeous, man. Yeah, so this congressman, I don't understand why the one congressman asking for a full nuclear strike will be enough to start World War III, but whatever, like, cool. If this were like Reagan, that I could understand. Batman in disguise gets the tip on Kyle escorts and arrives just before the police do. I love they say, "Oh, Halloran, 6th precinct," like blah blah blah. And I love as he walks off, the second dude walks up, and she's like, the timing could not be worse on that. And to see Batman like as an old man jump the fence and ride off in the Batmobile, like it's this like old biker dude. And yeah, so they show up right before the police do. He and Robin find cotton candy, and the chase continues at the fairgrounds. I love the fact that she's dressed up as Wonder Woman, which is dark as fuck. But the fact that he just straight up is like Selina, and he wipes it off her mouth and kisses her. It's awesome. I love that. Like, that's not the Bruce Wayne that we've seen in any of these movies.
Right? He rarely he rarely gives into her sexuality, to her advances. Right?
Right. Well, and I don't even know. I think yes and no. Like, obviously the sexuality part, but at the same time, the whole thing of just like, if there was ever a woman that to care about, that you still care about, maybe there was no marriage relationship, blah, blah, blah. But still, it's like, he knows that I'm trying to think. He's not like, it's not like Spider-Man where he's like, the cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind. The cunning warrior attacks the heart. It's not like he's trying to get to Batman through Selina, but it's also helpful. Like, he needs her for this, but also it fucks up Batman as well, because there is at least some level of like caring about her. I really, really dig that. And the fact that he has no hesitation, just walks in and fucking plants one. And of course they escape right when the police show up. I love the backlighter and her Robin falling. He's like, good soldier, good
Yeah.
soldier. That's such a cool scene, man. At the fairgrounds, let me see here. Yeah, so at the fairgrounds, Batman and Robin show up. The Joker they kind of split it off here. The Joker is the one who kind of pursues Batman. Abner and Robin fight, and then the two dolls are trying to, blow each other off. Abner and Carrie fight on the roller coasters. Batman pursues a Joker and his hostage. Sorry. Batman pursues Joker through the crowd, and he grabs a hostage in the House of Mirrors. I love the Joker indiscriminately punching men and women, like doesn't give a fuck. Like you would never see that. In Dark Knight, he never even really hits a woman. And they're like, well, that is so below the belt and fucking disrespectful and awful. And he's just clocking women in the face and like break somebody's nose.
Not even punching. When they get into the river, like he's just indiscriminately like murdering people left, right, and center. He's just shooting them. Like it's just insane. I'm just like, that is a level of violence that you never see in Batman films, live action Batman films.
Absolutely.
And like, not to mention that this whole time in the House of Mirrors, Joker's got a fucking batarang stuck in his eye. Like, he's got like that spike in his eye.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, the part that cracks me up is when he gets into the House of Mirrors and he grabs the little kid. And he's like, you're the Joker, right? Well, Batman's going to kick your ass. Yeah, well, he's going to have to go through you first. I love that line. Awesome, that's so good.
So good. I love Michael Emerson, man. Like, the delivery of all this is fantastic.
Oh, dude. As they fight, Batman is shot, and Abner is killed by the mechanics of the ride. Brutal. Sorry, I burped in the middle of that. Fucking brutal, awesome. Dude.
It reminds me of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom when the guy gets fucking flattened. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Right. Well, and you can see it kind of fucks up Carrie Kelly because she's like, whoa, I just killed somebody. Like, and but you get a really fucked up vibe when he pins her arms down and you're like, all right, where's this going, dude? This is freaking me out. I don't like this. Joker begins a shooting rampage, like you said, into the Tunnel of Love, and they finally have their final battle. Oh my God, it's finally here, isn't it? The moment we've both been waiting for. It's like, dude, my dick could not get any harder. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude. I was so bonered up for this, man. And like the whole thing of Batman's been shot and then he stabs him 3 or 4 times in the stomach. But like when he's on top of him and he's like, here it is, the big moment, you're going to fall asleep. And they do the shot from Batman's perspective and the knife is in the foreground and Joker's face as he's on top of him, like phasing in and out is so goddamn good. But I mean, what did you think about this? The final confrontation between the clown prince of crime and the Dark Knight.
Goddamn beautiful, dude. Like the whole time I'm watching this scene, I keep like hearkening back to that interrogation scene in The Dark Knight, right? Like you have nothing to threaten me with, nothing to do with all your strength. And then, he's just like, tonight you're going to break your one rule. And like, this is the Joker's plan from that movie coming to fruition, right? Like it's him finally killing someone, finally ending a life on purpose. Like, finally like having what we talk about in like other episodes, the mens rea, like which is the guilty mind, the criminal mind, like that you need to establish in like a murder trial, right? Like you have the guilty act, which is the actus reus, then you have the mens rea. It's all here. Batman, if he was put on trial, can get convicted of murder. And
right, which is what happens basically. Now it's a manhunt.
Exactly. And it's just, oh, dude, the way it's drawn, the way it's animated, the way that Joker turns his neck and he's just like, see you in hell. Oh, outstanding. Jesus, dude. Outstanding. This is my favorite moment in the entire film. It's not that I couldn't give a shit about the Batman vs Superman element of it. I love it. It's fun. It's good stuff. This is the part that really like drives it home for me, dude. Because I mean, like again, Joker is my favorite villain of all time. Like I just inherently my favorite.
No, absolutely. My 2 favorite parts of this are when Batman finally starts like when he finally confronts him and he starts wailing on him. He's like, no more. And he's like, all the people I've murdered by letting you live. And you're like, oh, and he's like, and you kept count and I love you for it. Like, oh, that's so good.
It also just says to the audience just how guilty Batman is. Yes. Like this has all been like weighing on him, dude. But what got me,
Right.
what really surprised me was the spitting on his corpse. I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Fuck,
I
dude.
love it, dude. I love that, but like you said, the line of "See you in hell," where he's like, "I'll see you in hell," and
Right.
there's blood in his teeth, dude. He looks psychotic. It's
It's
amazing.
fantastic. Like the spitting on his corpse, dude, just tells me that Batman he has no regret. He has no regret killing the Joker. Like, you know, it's just like, I wanted you to die. Even after you're dead, I still want you to die. Like, it's good stuff.
Right. Well, and Batman literally having to walk down a hallway of the people he's let this guy murder. All these dead people floating in the water and shit. Like it feels like the dream that Pacino has in Heat, where he's like,
Ugh.
all these people at the table with me that I've you know, want me to help them. But of course, you know, Batman rigs the body. As soon as anybody touches it, it absolutely lights up. And he plants that little bomb in the wall to shoot and blow up. Yindel comes up, he punches her in the mouth, takes her gun, is like, cute. And I'm like, what the fuck?
My favorite moment in
and
the entire
what do you-
movie, Batman looking back at the burning corpse of the Joker, and he says, "Stop laughing," and then you just see the shot
Yes.
of like just the outline of Joker's skull, dude, just like mouth agape, just laughing. Oh, love it.
I ask you this as a lawyer and as a comic book fan. Do you think that Batman knew how much he was going to twist that neck? Do you think he meant to do what? Was he just straight up trying to kill him? Or do you think he was like, and 2, 3, 4, crack, and like knows that he paralyzed him? Part of me is like, I don't think so. I'm just curious, because if that were the case, he would have done it a long time ago and just paralyzed him, you know?
That's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it was intentional. I really want to believe that
Yeah.
it was intentional, only because of the line that just comes before that, where it's like, enough, like kind of like, uh, I blame myself for like I murdered the people. I murdered the people that you killed, technically, right? Just by letting you live.
Right.
Like, you know, it feels like this has reached its tipping point. I am done with this. It's time for you to go. Like, you know, to keep you alive, even just to keep you paralyzed, you're somehow going to find a way out of it. You're somehow going to find
Yes.
someone.
I thought about that.
It's you're somehow going to find someone to do your bidding for you. So I've just got to, you gotta get fucked. You gotta get got.
Right. Well, even look at Arkham Knight. Like, literally, Batman is the one who has to, like, he's like a shell, he's like a host for him. It's crazy. I also love, you know, he's bleeding everywhere. Like, Robin has to lasso him and pull him up. I love all the blood DNA evidence he's leaving at the scene. It's amazing. Like, no one's gonna figure out who he is. Luckily, like, I love that Robin goes all like T2 casualty list on all the cars and starts blowing up and like is doing property damage and shit.
That, yeah.
I love it, dude. It's great. And a breaking announcement: President Reagan comes on TV and says that the U.S. have won the war, have won in Corto Maltese against Russia. However, they have launched a warhead at Corto Maltese, which Superman intercepts at the last minute and detonates safely. He's like, the good news is our strong boys have won in our overseas blah blah. The bad news is those Russians are some sore losers. And it's like, dude, that's one hell of a way to put it. And I love it's a President Reagan undisclosed location. It's like him in a bunker in like fucking Nevada somewhere. Yeah, that whole shit absolutely cracks me up, dude. I love it. And the fact that they barely that they hook I think this is where they hook Batman up to all the life support stuff, and he's like, is he gonna be okay? He's far too stubborn to die. That's so good, dude. Basically, yeah, and this is really also the Batman has revealed himself to be an unqualified menace. I've asked the governor to place the state police at Gotham City's disposal to hunt down this dangerous fugitive. I don't want to go past the part where they asked Reagan about the agreement the Justice League came to, and he's like, well, you know, what agreement? I don't know what you're talking about, but as for Gotham, that's not my road to hoe. We have a great senator there, and the senator is like, I have a whole state to run. I defer to the governor. And the mayor's like, oh, well, you know, I defer. I don't want to step on the new police chief. It's so bullshit, like politics delegation. Oh, it's so great.
Did we go past the part where Superman gets hit with the nuke?
No, that's right where we're at.
Okay.
You're perfect.
Okay.
Like he gets the nuke, and I mean, there's a little bit of other stuff too. You know, we see Gordon going out for like the whole going out to get his grocery list, and his wife that's like 30 years younger than him. The nuke goes off, and and Superman apparently practices photosynthesis, I guess.
Dude,
Like, what did you think about this?
Okay, I wasn't expecting him to fucking end up looking like a husk, dude. Like that was the visual of that is awesome, man. Yeah, it looks like something out of Skyrim, something you find out in like the Draugrs, like that you find in like the tombs and shit, man.
Dude, nice pull.
Yeah, I had to reach deep into my asshole for that one, but yeah, I knew that Superman got his power from the sun. I guess he gets his power from nature, right? Because that was not clear to me at all. Like I knew that he got power from the sun, but like when he got he drained the plant life, like that was something new to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been, because basically it's the red sun of Krypton that is, the problem on Krypton that stops. They're not gods there, it's only when they come to Earth. And so it's kind of interesting, but I also think it's kind of bullshit at the same time. It seems very almost like Deus Exy, very kind of like, well, here's a problem, and we kind of bullshitted our way out. I would have preferred almost if it were like he just got a whole bunch of vitamin C, like was just like, or vitamin D was just like absorbing the sun, or even like solar panels or something. But I think what I really would have liked if Superman could still, he could fly to Africa or Russia and just, sunbathe there. He doesn't have to do it in the US. I'd like it if he was getting like some energy, but it wasn't his full reserve, because it's like, think if you're over here, if you're fighting in this area and your constant source of energy has been blocked out, you're going to be weaker. Like, I don't know. It's a nitpick, but I was like, it's just kind of goofy seeing like zombie Superman like fuck these flowers. It's very strange. But it's kind of cool at the same time.
Oh
yeah. Superman is a daffodil, apparently. That's what I wrote.
Beautiful.
But him falling through this crazy sky, getting electrocuted, like, oh, that's brutal. Gotham goes into full-blown panic mode as Bruce wakes up to realize that the Soviets have detonated a Coldbringer missile meant to cripple but not kill with an EMP. He and Robin mount their horses and ride off, taking charge of the Sons of Batman. Fucking shit. This is awesome, dude. I love it.
Batman on a horse, fucking sploosh. Just
dude,
jizz everywhere.
It's so good, man. The imagery of that is so like Sleepy Hollow, you know what I mean? Like the Headless Horseman kind of shit. Yeah, but the whole imagery of that is absolutely amazing, and him taking charge of the Sons of Batman and stuff. Did you expect the Sons of Batman to come back at this part, or were you just like, whoa, what the fuck are these guys doing here?
No, I wasn't expecting them, but it makes sense, right? It makes sense that, because I knew that there was going to be this conflict between Batman and Superman. So I was like, okay, it makes sense that the Sons of Batman are here, because now in Superman's eyes and Reagan's eyes, it looks like Batman has an army, and it looks like Batman is going to take over this city. So we need to stop. We need to stop Batman. We need to stop his cronies, like, because he's a villain. I wish Batman vs Superman had this kind of level of motivation for his characters.
Yes,
I wish it had that.
Yes,
it's just that's what it was missing.
Well, and even in the Dark Knight, where he's like, "I'm not wearing hockey," like that whole thing. It's just like,
right.
That would have been cool to see him like kind of adopt these guys and be like, yeah, it's so interesting, man. But this is the track. This is so great where he's like, we don't, these weapons, they're clumsy, they're dumb. He's like, we're silent, we're deadly, and I'll train you in time, but we don't have anything. Tonight, we are the law. Tonight, I am the law. Like, that is and him holding like the broken gun with the horse on top of everything. I'm like, that is a beautiful shot, man. It's so good. Let me hit you with the track real quick from the soundtrack. I think we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't play at least one or two. This one's called Tonight I Am the Law. And again, this is by Christopher Drake. Let me get this pulled up for you real quick.
I am the law. my favorite part.
Dude, that's so good, man. It feels very like Magneto lifting up the submarine, like in First Class. Like that's all I could think of,
It's
man.
definitely got that. It's the mixture of Hans Zimmer and Elfman, dude. Like it feels like that kind of like mixture.
Dude, 100%, man. I really dig the soundtrack a lot. I could play 3 or 4 more of these tracks, but oh my god, we'd be here all day. So basically, bad goes to worse when the inmates and the GCPD escape and clash with the looters of Gotham. What an awful dude. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh shit. That's so fucked up. Until Batman and company intervene. Gordon also takes charge of the streets and helps stop the spreading fire. I love Gordon's part, dude. It gives me like borderline brings like gets my eyes misty,
Yeah.
and it gives me goosebumps to see him like, this is our neighborhood and the police department isn't coming. I'm like, oh, and knowing around this is bullshit. People will eat each other alive. This would never happen. But it still is like that's so awesome to see. Commissioner Yindel finally admits that Batman is truly too big for her to bring in. That's what she said. A week passes, power is not yet fully restored, and the weather has taken a severe change in direction. I love all of this. Basically, Gotham City is the only city not to fall into chaos, and which brings more of a problem for the White House. President Reagan gives Superman the go-ahead to kill Batman. Obviously, this is a huge problem for them, and quite frankly, is such fucking bullshit. I feel like this is such a petty like revenge thing. Like we made an agreement that you were even lucky to get 10 years ago, and now you've contradicted that. And not only have you contradicted that, you have totally like we have egg all over our face right now because you were the only one to do anything about it, and we tried to make you go away. Like that is so fucking crazy, man. Like what did you think about this? I feel like this is pretty much where it was headed. You know, he was given a warning, and not only did he not continue at the level he was at, he went above that. Like, what did you think about this? Like, ultimatum, basically.
It was. It makes sense. A level of it does make sense. Like like it seems like from the standpoint of Superman, it seems like there's a rogue villain acting out there. Like like something needs to be done, but like yeah, the shady deals of the government stuff, like that is the part where it's just like fuck, like this does seem petty. Like like I don't know, like but again, like I wish they kind of like I wish there was time to like flesh out the Superman and Batman kind of like friendship element of it. Like like I wish like because like leading into the main battle, that's where Captain America and Iron Man's like battle in Civil War is so much more heartbreaking, right? Because like we have all these movies to set up their relationship, like and their friendship. I get it. I get it. I get it to an extent. Like like I get the whole conflict, like the whole reason that Superman needs to bring him down.
Well, and I also think what's interesting is Frank Miller said something. This is not verbatim, but he was like, I realized after trying to contemplate how I could portray their friendship that these people were not friends. That basically Batman was a vigilante terrorist who fought police, who fought the military, who did whatever he wanted to do and had no jurisdiction. And Superman was like the schoolboy. There's a reason why they call him that he follows all the rules. He doesn't break those rules at all. There's something really interesting about that, whereas like Frank Miller's like, I realized the closest thing to the word friendship I could find between them was alliance, that they had an uneasy alliance basically. And it really makes me think it's almost like America and Russia in World War II. It's like, listen, you don't like me, I don't like you. This is a bigger thing, so let's deal with this.
Right. We need to come together to deal with the greater good. The greater good.
The greater good. Green Arrow and Bruce share a drink. Oliver Queen tells Bruce he's left in no choice but to kill him, and the only thing he wants is a piece of the schoolboy. I love that where he's like, you always played it mysterious, but it's a loud kind of mysterious. He's like, me, they've been covering me up since I escaped. It's like they have to kill. Oh, it's a really good explanation. Actually, it knits the nail on the head. What did you think of the revelation that he cut off Green Arrow's arm?
Fuck, dude. I was like, damn, that is intense. It it makes sense to the Superman. It makes sense in the Zack Snyder Superman. Like, you know, like Superman will take violent and drastic measures to, like, for the greater good. And I hate that I keep using the word greater good.
Greater good.
But, like, I mean, you know, we saw in Man of Steel, like, you know, a lot of people complained about the way that Superman kills Zod in that movie. Like, you know, like the whole twisting of his neck, like, you know, to save the family.
I like it.
I like it too. I like it too because it makes sense in the situation, you know? Like it makes sense that he is and like he had to live with it afterwards. Like, dude, like after he kills Zod in that way, he lets out this like piercing scream, you know? I can imagine that like after he cut off like Oliver Queen's arm, he would have done the same. He would have like felt that agony, you know?
Well, and I also think in Man of Steel is the only movie I've ever gotten to see on my birthday. It came out of like whatever my 23rd or 24th birthday, whatever year. What was that, 2012?
2013.
My 23rd birthday, I got to go see that. And the fact that like literally it is Kal-El sacrificing his home world for his mother tongue for this new life and the place that he's only ever known. It's like god damn, dude, the feeling of like knowing that you're different and that you want to go find your real people and you find them and then you have to murder them. Like that is, the people who don't get that, I'm like, sorry, you're a fucking idiot. I think that's so good. Superman finally challenges Batman in Crime Alley. You know your town is fucked up when you have a place called Crime Alley. Like,
and that's
Crime Alley?
That's where the parents died, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, and I don't know if it's like canon or if it's just from the movies or whatever, but I think I know in the 89 Batman it's called the Monarch Theater, and I've always wanted to name a band that Monarch Theater and see if anybody catches it. I think that'd be a cool name. But yeah, so the fight, here we are, dude. Here we fucking are. The fight of the ages. We see Bruce setting up the suit of armor. He takes the pills. You know, I don't like the part where he's like 1 hour. It's like, okay, way to just spell that out, dude. I was kind of like, I wish it would just be like, what are those pills for? And then you can kind of put two and two together. Literally my notes, let the games begin. I think this is amazing. This whole fight, you know, the fact that Carrie Kelly's like, you know, she's like, well, I mean, I'm trying to figure out the plan here, boss. Like, you figuring you're going to die? Is like, figure I will. Like, that's just the end of it. And I love one of my favorite parts is Batman running into that alley and the soldiers lose him. He's like, I lost him. He's like, that's all right. He can't hide from what's coming. And boom, there comes Superman. Like, this was how high my hopes were when Batman versus Superman happened. And how do you compare this fight to that?
We get a bit of this in Batman vs Superman. It's so much more brief, and it's like, dude, don't get me started on the, you know, why did you say her name? Like the Martha element of it.
Yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of that. But like, I mean, at the same time, when I was sitting in the theater, it like as that's playing out, I was like, oh shit, both of their names are Martha. Like I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's such a weird, like, I don't know if that's a coincidence, but yeah, that's such a weird like connection. But yeah, man, like, look, this fight is fucking epic, and the scope of it, you know, like just the different elements of it, it blows the Batman vs Superman fight out of the water. I do wish that we got something like this, like, you know, more like in Batman vs Superman. I just hate that it's raining in Batman vs Superman. I love that it's snowing here. Like, it's just the setup of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I don't know, like I love the fact that Oliver Queen is involved. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, this is really engaging, dude. This is really fantastic.
Well, and this feels so much more legendary because they know each other. They've been friends for decades. Batman versus Superman, they don't even really know each other.
You don't get that vibe. But like, Batman versus Superman is rushing to set up the Justice League.
Yes.
Like, you know, it's rushing to set up,
and it's not
Diana Prince as well.
Right. Well, and it's not even the main Batman versus Superman. It's not even the main fight. Like, that is like, you have Warehouse, Doomsday, Batman versus Superman fight.
Why is like, Doomsday in that fucking movie? Like,
I don't understand that, man. I just, you know, I know that there eventually has to be another villain besides Batman and Superman going at it, but I would love if Lex Luthor's plan just fell apart and they were just like, we're not fighting because we figured this out, and now we're coming for Lex Luthor, and that were the end of the movie. Like, oh shit, that's cool. Pick it up in the next one. Pick it up in Justice League. But I mean, this fight is fucking epic. The cleverness of Batman, the X-ray missiles, the sonic gun, the electricity, like everything. Like, dude, this is what I love to see is when a hero or a superhero is literally throwing everything they can, dude. He shoots that hot shit in his eyes and like he puts like a fucking mine on his chest that blows half his own armor off. And you're like, dude, this is literally like no, one of us is not leaving here alive, and that is what's so there's no trying to save face. But the choreography, like, no, I don't like to really get into like a lot of choreography, but I have to a little bit on this, dude. It's so amazing of like Batman like jet booting at him. He catches him and he just turns right back around and crushes Clark's head into the concrete, dude. And I love the fight as they're going through and they're going through that apartment building. If you look on the wall in one of the rooms they stop, there's a Christopher Reeve Superman poster on the wall.
That's awesome.
But the best part of this fight to me that's is when they go up and Superman knocks Batman down, the like ping, 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 ping. And then it's like he kicks a steel beam at him and he grabs like a wrecking ball and he's slinging it and he actually hits him with it, throws it again. He laser beams it. He catches it and slings. It's like, whoa. It's like a tennis match.
Super kinetic.
Like, this is amazing. Like, oh, it's so fucking good, man. And the big thing is like, the funny part is like he's basically you kind of feel like Superman is eventually like kind of, you know, literally he crushes those things on Superman and the next time he goes to grab him, he just grabs his helmet and he's like, Bruce, this is idiotic, and punches him out of his own helmet. And you're like, fuck, he really has just been kind of taking it easy on him so far. The weight when he lands on Bruce's chest, when he flies up and just lands right on him, you're like, fuck, that's like the weight of it feels so like, oh man. I love this whole thing. What were you expecting when you saw this? Like, how were you expecting this to end? Did you think that Arrow was going to pop up or that this was going to have anything to do with it? Like, what were your thoughts first time around?
I mean, I definitely knew that Green Arrow was going to pop up, like considering just how hellbent he was to get revenge on the schoolboy, right? But like, I also had a feeling that Bruce Wayne was going to die. Like, you know, like I was just like, there's no way in hell he's making out of this. This is kind of like his last ditch effort. And then, you know, like once the fight ends and, you know, like Oliver Queen's hit him with the kryptonite arrow. And then, dude, Bruce's speech when he's like, you're feeling it right now, aren't you? What the rest of us have to live with for the rest of our lives.
Nice.
I'm just like, oh, that is awesome, dude. Like, what an awesome way to humanize Superman as well as Bruce, dude. It's fantastic. And then you get the end, right? Like, he's like, Bruce, your heart. Like, you know, like there's still that element of like Superman where he doesn't want to do this. Like, you know, this is still his friend. He's using him like he's using his first name. It's just like, it's not like Wayne, your heart. It's Bruce, your heart. And it's just, it's actually kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, well, that and the whole thing of what I've always interpreted this ending as is he knew that Superman was both super hearing, super speed. Like he knows that he'll be able to catch that. It's not a matter of getting the arrow to hit you. It's a matter of getting it close enough to like when you grip it, then it goes. And this is in Batman versus Superman with a grenade.
Yeah,
that's absolutely a part of it. I was just like jaw to the floor, and I still am kind of jaw to the floor when I see this of him just being like, you know, literally as he's breathing in, you know, and he's like, you're feeling it, aren't you? Your own mortality and he's kicking him in the fucking teeth and shit. And you're like, dude, I was almost borderline like, dude, stop hitting him, man. Like he's down. Like he's fucking down, dude. You got to cut that shit out. I do have, this is my second and final track I'm going to hit you with really quick. This is pretty much one of the last ones, and fittingly, it is called, let me see here really quick. I want you to remember the one man who beat you. Let me get this pulled up really fast. Because this is, if you thought the first one was good, this is just fucking epic, man. And I'm probably, whenever we get done with this episode, I'm literally probably gonna go outside, smoke a cigarette, and just fucking jam to this soundtrack. Sorry, let me get this pulled up. you can literally hear his voice. Like, I want you to remember oh, dude, the speech is so, he's like, I could have, what does he say? He's like, I could have gone, but I didn't have to go easy on you. I could have made a stronger binding agent, a better mix. Oh shit, I think I've got it actually pulled up right here. Whoa, shit, what does he say? What does he say? But I didn't have to go easy on you. A different binding agent, a stronger mix. I want you to remember that. I want it to remind you of you to stay out of my way in all the years to come in your most private moments. I want you to remember the one man who beat you. Like, and it's so amazing when he's holding him and looking into his eyes, and you're like, here's Superman, perfect, young, not aged, and here's Batman dying, bloody, and old, and he's staring him right in the face like, you will fucking remember me. Like, I love that shit, dude. It gives me like, oh man, I absolutely love it. Seeing the age, not only the climax of our story with Two-Face and the Joker, but also the climax of the end of this working relationship between the world's greatest detective and the Man of Steel. It's so amazing. And I, like you said, I really wish he just would have dropped dead, and like, I wish it would be like, if Bruce Wayne comes back, he's like a hologram or something, he's like Tupac at the halftime show, it's like, just give me some kind of like hologram shit. But I absolutely love it. Bruce collapses and the Nightfall protocol from Arkham Knight is activated. And Wayne Manor burns to the ground. Alfred dies outside in the snow, which is, I wish he just would have stayed in the house and be like, no, I'm just going to stay in here. Like, that's cool. The world eventually learns the secret of Batman and Bruce Wayne's duality, and all financial holdings have disappeared. At the funeral, Superman discovers Bruce is alive, but leaves them be. Under the grave, Oliver and company set up camp for a new Batcave. I spent 10 years looking for a good death. This will be a good life. That's amazing, dude. Love it. Absolutely love it. What was your interpretation at the end with Superman? I've heard two different things. I've heard some people that were basically like, Superman was in on everything, that he basically let Batman kick his ass so Batman could die, versus some people have said that no, that Superman wasn't in on it, that this is XYZ. Like, do you think that there's any indication that Superman was just playing the part the whole time, or what, did he legitimately get his ass kicked?
I want to believe that it's legitimate. Like, I want to believe,
Sure.
I want to believe that Superman, while they're having this brawl, that Superman was giving it his 100%. Like, that he wasn't holding back. And then, like, it wasn't until he either use X-ray vision to see through the casket or whatever, or like super hearing, that he turns and winks to Robin or whatever. I kind of want, I want it to be genuine. Like, I feel like it's genuine. I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's a level of like, if it's not genuine, then I feel like the fight is a little, like, it's a little degraded. Like, it moves down a notch for me if it's not genuine. If it's not two superheroes going hard at it, like 100%, giving it their 100%, giving it their all, then I don't know. I feel like the fight is cheapened a little bit.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that it totally waters down everything that has happened, as in, like, so basically you were just trying to have your cake and eat it too, and basically let the government think that this is what happened, when in reality it's not. I definitely am in the same boat as you. I'm like, I think that really would just tone down the ending to a degree that would really disappoint me. And my thing is, in a fair fight, like, with no kryptonite, no battle armor, Superman is going to kill Batman.
Superman's
That's just
gonna
a given.
fuck him up.
Right? Superman's going to rip his asshole into the sun. But when you take Batman, who, like, dude, in The Dark Knight Strikes Again, he literally has like kryptonite brass knuckles, and it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, but I mean, that isn't a fair fight though. Like, if you think about, that would never be a fair fight. There's no fucking way. But so they find a little water source, and they kind of start setting up shop. I love this, dude. Basically, the fucking end. That's The Dark Knight Returns. Holy shit, this has been a good episode. Give me your final thoughts on this, man, and I'll look up some. Well, do you want to do listener comments first, or do you want to do final?
Yeah, let's do listener comments. I've already got it pulled up here, right?
Yeah, go for it.
So, who am I gonna read? Jose Rivera, love you, Jose. He says, I'm a fan of DC Animated and I like the movie, but I've never been a fan of the story. It's seminal to some, but for me, it's a little overrated. Now, I will say that Peter Weller and Michael Emerson were fantastic choices for Batman and the Joker. That's interesting, man. Like that he finds the story a little overrated. I think if this came out in 1986 and I was living in 1986 and I was reading it for the first time, it would blow my mind. But I think,
Right.
now that we're living post Batman vs Superman, post Dark Knight Rises, post Joker, like it's going to seem a little run of the mill,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're totally correct because I saw this way before I saw Batman versus Superman. So these were my expectations. But if you love Batman versus Superman and you come in to watch this, you're not going to be disappointed, but it's going to be very different. And then I'm not saying that was Jose's experience. I'm just saying, let me read one of these off real quick. I've got two of them really fast because, God damn it, we love Patrick Harrington. Fuck yes, is Patrick's comment. I had to read that off. Let me see. I'm gonna read off Luke Noonan. Is it Noonham? Lunam?
I'm
However you
going to
say
say
it.
Noonan.
Noonan. Okay. I love Nuke. Nuke. That's his name now. Nuke. There you go. I love Luke's comment. Love DC's animated films. The Dark Knight Returns was fantastic. Flashpoint Paradox is another one of my favorites of all time, along with Gotham Knight. Yes, 100% to fucking Flashpoint Paradox, man. It's amazing. That is like the Flash's Dark Knight story. It's so fucking good. If you haven't seen that and you're listening to this, Flashpoint Paradox is amazing. Really, please go check it out.
I got one from Rick Gentuza. Gentuza, I want to pronounce it. I'm sorry, Rick. He says fucking A. Honestly, I put this up there with Watchmen as the most accurate comic to movie adaptation. Also, I get to hear freaking RoboCop voice Batman quoting Judge Dredd. That alone made me nut harder than anything.
Yeah. One thing that Rick and I have in common is this undying like love for RoboCop that we're so like. I'm like, yes, it's like a shorthand for knowing somebody's cool as fuck. Do you want to read Scott Buchanan? He's you know what? He's an Aussie. You read Scott Buchanan.
All right, Scott. Scott says he used to collect Batman comics from before I was Zohab's age, and then in parentheses, stupid young people on my lawn again. In fact, it was an original run of The Killing Joke that got me hooked. Original run, dude. Imagine that, right?
That's amazing,
Jesus.
Man. You still got that? Send it.
Yeah.
Send it to me.
Yeah, that's crazy. Second Batman I ever bought was The Dark Knight Returns, and just wow. I've never seen the animated movie, however, I'll dress up in my glittery cape and mask and give it a whirl. It'll be nice to dress down for a while. Dress down.
I love Scott. No, you
awesome.
You possum.
Yeah, you possum.
Absolutely, I absolutely love Scott. Zohab, I think this has been a fantastic episode. I don't have a lot left to say. I'm pretty tapped out. I think that this again is one of the greatest pieces of fiction I've ever read and had the privilege to watch in my life. I think exactly like what Rick said. How many times do people actually, adapt these things and do them correctly and give them, their just desserts? And, I'm extremely, I feel like I'm extremely lucky to be around in a time, and have me thinking about this. How many people read The Dark Knight Returns in like the 90s and then early 2000s and then mid 2000s, and then somebody who, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the right way to say it. Imagine dying before this came out. And it's like seeing this thing that is so seminal being interpreted into this visual medium and it being interpreted so well. And I think that's the same thing for me about like Watchmen. Just like what Rick said, the Watchmen movie, yeah, I mean, some people don't like it. They change the ending and stuff. But I absolutely love the ending to Watchmen, and I love what they did to it. And I think it's so interesting seeing exactly, seeing this comic book be so influential in the 80s and then watching it come right back around in 2012. Have you seen the Rotten Tomatoes score for this fucking thing?
Isn't it like 97 or some shit?
Dude, one is like 99 or 100, part one, and then part two is like 98 or 97.
Yeah.
It's almost a perfect score. And I think that's just so incredible. I love the fact that that we got to cover this. We would never be able to talk about this story if it were not an animated film. And like, this is probably going to be one of my favorite episodes because I absolutely love this movie. And I think that I can't say enough about this. I could sit here all day and talk about the mythology and the social commentary, how Batman is such an anti-establishment character, and how Frank Miller himself is very anti-establishment, and how he dislikes Superman. Anybody who just blindly trusts the government because they think that they're the ones, with the best ideas, it's kind of a fool. And I think that's an interesting take from him. Maybe not something I personally agree with 100%, but I can see where he's coming from. And I can be very I don't like people telling me what to do. I can be very anti-authoritative myself. But seeing Batman and seeing him in a real world setting and feeling like this is, it's a comic book and it gets kind of hyper, they come to an agreement with the Justice League and they're interviewing these mass murderers and giving them a soapbox. It's goofy. But at the same time, it felt like, what would you do if you were Batman and you had to kill Superman? This is exactly what you would do. You'd get on a big ass mech suit with some kryptonite and fuck his ass up. And the whole story of, like, not only does it bring the politics of the time with the 80s, but it also brings in his final confrontation with the Joker and doing what he should have done a long time ago. But also coming to I don't know, trying to come to trying to wrap his head around his retirement and realizing that maybe you retired for the right reasons short term, but in long term, you've made things so much worse by being gone. And that sometimes even if you are disobeying orders, I love, there's a great Captain America comic where he's like, sometimes even when everybody else is telling you that you're wrong, that you have to be right. Deep down, that you're right. And I think that's really what this story kind of boils down to. I'm so fucking happy that we're finally tapping into the DC animated universe. I can see this. I think that I'll slowly start wanting to whittle these off of the list and start watching them and covering them and having a lot of fun. This has been one of, like, my top 10 favorite movies to cover on here. And that's, I've taken out The Thing, I've taken out The Dark Knight Returns. Like, I'm down to about 8 of them now. Now Shaun of the Dead, and I'm down to 7. That's it. I'm so happy that we were able to cover this and that we kind of stepped outside of what our normal medium is, and not, we've covered animated stuff before, but not like this, and this is, makes me think of Matrix, not like this. But I absolutely had a blast doing this, and I hope that maybe someone sees this episode and is like, "What's Dark Knight Returns?" and they check it out and fall in love with it, just like I did. I actually am even planning a tattoo of the cover of The Dark Knight Returns, just a whole sleeve of it, dude. Batman doing fucking kung fu and the lightning and shit. I just absolutely love it. I can't say enough. I know that a lot of people don't like Frank Miller's gritty, violent kind of, like, bulging, bulbous Batman. But I absolutely love it, and I think that this is my Batman. This is my version that I love. The gritty, violent old Batman is really my cup of tea. Hey, here's hoping that they can get Michael Keaton or Jeffrey Dean Morgan and do Flashpoint really well, because they need to look at this and be like, that's the Batman we need. This is the Batman we need for Flashpoint. And I hope they do it right, man. Fingers crossed,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Holy shit, how the fuck do I follow that? But what you were saying, dude, you were like, I'm hoping that someone, sees this on the podcast feed. Dark Knight Returns, what is that? Let me dive into this and fall in love with it. You did that for me on this, man. Like, I hadn't seen this before. I hadn't,
Nice.
I knew, like, little snippets about it and stuff like that, but I fucking love this movie, dude. Like, I actually will finish the comic. I'm really keen to do that. But yeah, this tells such a fantastic story, like something that has been adapted over time in various films. But to see it, like, play out, like, on the animated film is just absolutely brilliant, dude. Like, I love the moral questions it raises. I love the politics of it. Like, I love the fact that this isn't a children's comic book film. Like, it's not like it's got
Right.
very heady ideas. It's got very realistic characters. It's got a old grizzled Batman. Like, that is something that I can't believe we've only seen that done on film once, and it was Ben Affleck's one. And even then, it didn't seem like
Mhm.
an older grizzled Batman. Like, it seemed like someone who's very adept. But I love this, man. Like that's something I love about this podcast is, there would be a movie out there that I have been like that I've heard of, or like that I for some reason have not seen because I'm just like a piece of shit because it's animated or something like that. But the podcast, gets my ass in gear and, gets me off of my ass and like goes and watches it. And then like I come back being like, holy fucking shit, that was awesome. Like, and that is 100% what happened in this case. Like, I am so glad for you and the podcast to, introduce me to the DC animated universe in a big bad way. So yeah, man, I love this movie. Thank you for picking it.
Hell yeah. I also, dude, one last thing, and I learned this from a fantastic podcast called Hey Do You Remember? If you guys, for some odd reason, haven't been listening to them, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. But I learned a lot from that podcast about like filmmaking in general and just how things are done. And there's a great thing that they pointed out from Trey Parker and Matt Stone, where good story writing is not like and then, and then, and then. It's therefore and but. It's like, yes, Batman comes out of retirement, therefore and but. Everything is a reaction to him coming out of retirement. Yeah. Right. It's so fucking brilliant. I just had to point that out. And the stories like this, I hope they rub off on me and help my amateur writing skills, but I doubt it. Guys, this has been a blast. I really hope. Thanks for staying late and thanks for listening all the way through. We really hope that you enjoy it. We've got a lot of stuff on the horizon. If you haven't checked out Zoheb's interviews of Sean, I want to say Cunningham. That's the guy who directed Friday the 13th. Sean O'Connell. Sean O'Connell from Cinema Blend. We were extremely lucky to have him come on the show and talk about his book. I just thought it was fitting to announce, not announce this, but bring this up again because he wrote a book about the Snyder Cut. And he's been in the same room with a lot of our favorite filmmakers. He's an extremely nice guy. We'd love to have him back on the show again. And please check out Cinema Blend. Great podcast. We absolutely loved having him on. And also we just had, and I'm going to butcher his name too, Robert from Dark Waters.
Yeah, I thought you were going to try and pronounce it. I wanted to hear you try and pronounce it.
No, no, I'm not.
Robert Ballot. He's a real life lawyer. It was just an absolutely fucking surreal experience to talk to him, man. Crazy.
Absolutely. If you haven't seen Dark Waters with Mark Ruffalo, it's based off of something that Rob has been fighting since 1998 with DuPont Industries. It's absolutely interesting as hell. I haven't got to see the movie
fucking
yet, but based on Zoheb's recommendation.
Riveting.
Right. Well, you're reading the book right now as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think in the interview you said it's extremely good. So I'll probably end up reading the book, honestly, before I even watch the movie. And hey, fingers crossed, we're going to try to get Mark Ruffalo on this bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Gonna get Hulk himself.
Hey, you never know. Yeah. Guys, thanks for staying late. Thanks for listening all the way through to this. Again, if you want to find us on any of our socials, we're on Facebook at Midnight Double Feature. We're on Twitter at MDF Pod. You can find us on Instagram at Midnight Double Feature. You can join the after party, which officially hit 300 members not too long ago, and I was very happy about that. Thank you, whoever the 300th one was. Also, if you want to shoot us an email, midnightdoublefeature@gmail.com, let us know how we're doing. Maybe you got some requests or maybe some constructive criticism. And, definitely stop by, rate, review us on iTunes. We're not asking for money while we're doing this. It's being... we're independently funded podcast, and the best way anybody can help is get out there, rate and review our, show. Make your friends do it. Make your spouses do it. Make your ex-spouses do it and drive them crazy. Tell them you'll stop stalking them if they rate Midnight Double Feature.
It's okay to break the restraining order to ask them to rate and review our podcast. It's okay.
Exactly. If you send an anonymous letter in the mail or get a burner track phone and just send them something, they'll never know. Guys, this has really been a blast. Zoheb, I know I've been talking your head off and my fucking throat is sore because the thing about Superman's dick is, no, I'm just kidding.
It's made of steel.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, this has been a blast. Thank you so much. And we will catch you next time.